Hey everybody, how are we doing this evening? It's a fine Thursday down here in Florida. A little bit chilly. It's actually like 60 degrees here. I felt like I had to wear a jacket outside. In Ohio, I'd still be wearing shorts. So I hope everybody's doing well. Oh, let me silence my phone here. Sorry, the faux pas shouldn't have had that happen. But yeah, all is well here, and I'm still not completely recovered from the weekend. I've got a lot of emails still to reply to, unfortunately, but I'm slowly getting caught up. It's a chore at the end of the day. I sent out emails to everybody who exhibited yesterday, letting them know about the updated stats in their booth admins, and I am. I should never say I. Maureen and I are this close to having the feedback stuff completely done, integrated into the exhibitor booth for any exhibitor who sold artwork. You can leave feedback for the buyer as long as they were logged into the site when they contacted you about the artwork. We'll talk more about that later, of course. But yeah, so busy, and just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. But outside of that, nice to see James and Michael and Ron and everything. James picked up a very nice piece of art in the last 24 hours. Well, a couple, I think. So he'll be sharing those in his CAF gallery, I'm sure, very, very soon. I haven't picked up anything new, but I do have some packages beside me. So I might have something. I don't know, we'll find out later. But so I've got a busy show tonight, and I thought I would start it off a little differently than I usually do. And so tonight, I always kind of put the EXP stuff at the back, but I'm going to show the EXP preview this week because it's an interesting one this time around. As you know, the EXP Original Art Experience is every Friday at 7 o'clock. I bet you they're not doing it next Friday, though, because that's after Thanksgiving. But tomorrow at 7, of course, Nick Barucci will be on and extolling the virtues of of collecting original comic art and so much more, and giveaways, all those good things. But I've got a preview for you that's a little different than usual, and I'm going to play that first.
Hi there, everybody. Come check us out on the Original Art Experience this Friday, November 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have 1, 2, 3 giveaways. Yeah, you heard that right. 3 giveaways. Come check it out. It's going to be Justice League Odyssey from Chris, Cross, and Scott Hanna. Beautiful page, beautiful inking. It's beautiful. What else can I say? We're going to have commission cover art from Ken Hazer. This is Dr. Juggernaut. Such a cool piece. And we're even going to have Spider-Man Life Story, a page featuring the Vision, and I heard he's going to get his own show. How cool is that? The whole page is drawn by Mark Bagley. It's going to be such an incredible show, so please come check it out. The Original Art Experience, November 18th, Friday, 7 p.m. Please remember that. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends. It's always a good show no matter what. So, see you then.
So there you go. We're starting it off early because if you've read my email today, you know I've got the marvelous Nick Barucci on the show with me to get things started off today. Hey, Nick, how are you?
I'm doing good, Bill. I'm doing really good. It's been a good week. Actually, because CAFCon Live was so great, that's the reason why we decided to give 4 giveaways. I actually added one today because I decided, Marcus, 4 pieces are free. Jeff Wedding. It's always a good day for a wedding. Dino, I don't know what a Sandman DPS is. Sorry, man. Yes, Mr. Easy Go Lucky. I never looked better, and I probably never will again. Michael, CJ, how are you guys? So
everybody's excited to have you in the on the show, on my show for a change.
It's been a while. And I got to tell you, we've got Marcus on the show tomorrow night. Only maybe one thing is over $1,000. So only one thing. By the way, I was going to have a little bit of fun during CAFCon Live. I came this close to doing a stick figure drawing and putting it up for $5,001 on Sunday, saying, you never know. It was going to be like, you never know. Ron Lim in the house. But I thought that would be funny. I was like, all right. Dinesh is having his fun with that. It's, I can have some fun too.
Yeah. You should try it in the next CAF, con. You should try it. You never know.
Yeah, right?
You'll get a lot of views. You'll get a few odd comments here or there, I think.
Right? David, how are you? Kelly, hit that thumbs up.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kelly's not going to thumbs up the show until you tell him.
That's why we got to get Sharon to say it more.
That's true. Yeah, because I always forget. I can't do it. You do such a good job of it in the chat.
Thank you. No, CAFCON Live was really, really great, and I was saying to somebody, it felt like going to Vegas, getting lucky in the first hour, and it's like it just and something funny happened on the way to the forum because it was so it did not work out. It did not work out exactly the way I thought it did, but it still worked out. So that's all good. So remember, guys, 4 giveaways tomorrow night. Mark Bagley, Ken Hazer. What did Marcus write?
Oh, it was James Siegel saying it's Nicky Love. Nicky Love's, wasn't he in certain movies in the 70s? Yeah, he probably was, James.
And we decided to add this print signed by John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Paul Mount. So 4 giveaways tomorrow night because I got really lucky during CAFCON Live.
And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show, because you had emailed me on Saturday, right? Midway through the show, letting me know what had happened, and you were excited. You had to tell me. So explain to everybody what happened when the show got started.
All right. And there's a goof with what happened, which ended up working out too. All right. So on CAFCON Live, I used to go from highest to lowest, just like let me go through I want to look at everything. And the last few, I was like, there's no point in doing that. I could always do that later. And if somebody pulls art or deletes art, who cares? I went in and did Perez, Miller, Aparo, Byrne, Adams, just went through all my favorites one at a time. And when I got to Aparo, Larry Wilson had Brave and the Bold 123 page with Plastic Man. And it's the one page that I've been missing, that I've been looking for. So for years, and I kind of remembered Larry had it. I forgot about it, and he just didn't want to sell it for the longest time. So I jumped on that, and then I saw an Adventure Comics 461 page from Rob Hughes, and I'm like, that's the missing page that I need, and I jumped on that. Really, you like that issue? Yeah, it has Plastic Man and Metamorpho, and I'm missing. It was missing one page, and now I have it. Hey, Peter, how are you? And thank you. So I'm so ecstatic. I emailed Bill. I emailed 7 people. You won't believe this.
I think you posted on Facebook too.
And I posted it on Facebook. And then I realized I don't even remember when I realized. Now it's such a blur. It is such a blur. But I did not need the Adventure Comics 461 page. I needed a 464 page. And somebody reached out to me saying, through Facebook, I didn't realize you were such a big apparel collector. I have a page from Adventure 464 that's partially unpublished. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. And then I looked at my collection. I was like, you're an idiot and got lucky, because had I not
that was the page you needed.
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart. So I didn't need the 461. I needed the 464. And I even put a sticky.
See, now you set yourself to finding the pages from 461 now. You're on a new quest. You complete 2 and you start a new one.
So let me give, God, I'm always all over the place. Let me give a little bit of backstory. Marcus, I know now to hold apparel art hostage.
Yeah.
I'm James Siegel. No, don't know anybody who has Quesada Daredevil pages.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anybody like that.
Those are elusive, So I've had the cover to Showcase 105. So Showcase 105 was one of the DC Comics implosion books when they canceled like half the line or whatever it was. And it was eventually in Adventure Comics 464, the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a good portion of Adventure Comics 464. A few years ago, Kevin Brogan, you know, the guy who helps the Hero Initiative DC man, he had the cover to Adventure Comics 464. And so he said, Nick, do you want to buy it? He's like, I'm changing my collection a little. And I was like, how cool is it to have the published and the unpublished cover to this story?
Sure, that's great.
So I had that, and then I picked up a couple of pages, and I had a near complete book. Now, what I'm going to show real quick, so don't worry, the stickies are coming off quickly. They will come off faster than Anthony's pasties, I promise. So I had this page. Let me try and do this slowly. I had this page. I did not have this page. So this is what happened. Let's see. Or his hair. That's right. They will come off before his hair. So yes. Basically, this was initially God, I got to get this right. These 3 pages were originally part of Showcase 105.
Mm-hmm.
But where I have the stickies, this page was never printed. This page where the stickies are, this was the page I was missing. Where the stickies were not printed. So they printed this top. Let me put this right. Well, I'm going to have to do it the other way. So they printed this top with this bottom.
Right.
So the top panels here weren't printed and the bottom panels here. So the coolest part about this now is I have the most complete book you could ever have because I have the unpublished page, the top half, and the bottom half. And all this came together because of Kath. That's how I got that. Kevin Brogan offered me the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up like 2 pages over the years. And if I didn't buy that 461 and get so excited thinking it was the page I was missing and putting it up on Facebook, I never would have gotten the missing page. So I completed 2 Oparo books, 1 by mistake.
Well, you know what? As fate would have it, Nick, I've got some people who can corroborate your story. You may not believe it, but I've got Larry Wilson and Rob Hughes.
Hey guys,
in the green room, hanging out just to see if what you're telling us is actually the truth. Now, I have no reason to doubt you, but welcome to the show, Larry and Rob.
So what you're saying is right now you're President Reagan. Trust but verify.
Exactly. That's how you got to do it.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, Rob, nice to have you. And Larry, nice to have you back on the show. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. Hello, everyone.
Yes. So is Nick telling the truth there? Did he actually pick up these pages at the beginning of day 1 from both of you?
Yes, he actually picked mine up, I think, before it even opens to the public.
Oh man, Nick's
very early on.
Well, you got it during the preview then, yeah, because the premium members get the 2-hour early access. So Nick was in there before the 1 o'clock.
Nick's a seasoned. He's a seasoned expert at picking stuff off. Definitely,
it was pretty early indeed.
Yeah.
Well, and Larry, let's tell the whole story. I was cheesy at first. I made Larry an offer. And as Larry's emailing me saying, maybe at the end of today, I'll consider discounting, I emailed him and said, you know what? So I had emailed him, but I didn't think it went through. I had emailed him and said, what am I thinking? You know, because I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? You're missing one page that you've been waiting years, and you just asked for a discount? How stupid are you? I was like, if somebody else gets that, you can just be an idiot for the rest of your life. So I went to go email him. I didn't think the email came through. He came back to me and emailed me and said, I usually wait till Sunday to see if I'm giving a discount, but maybe at the end of today I'll see. And I emailed him back and said, you know what? You're right. I'll just take it. And you know what? Larry was kind too. He just said he agreed and he said, you know what? I'll throw in some free shipping, which was nice too.
Well, I had to. By the time I got your second email, the men in black were at the door with dynamite pins, you know, with their guns out. And it's just like, okay, whatever he wants, fine.
Nice.
They move fast.
Yes, they do. And how did it go for you, Rob?
You know, it was just easy peasy. Nick didn't even ask for a discount. He just says, "Hey, I want it." And I said, "Fine, it's yours." You know, so it was simple.
I learned from my quick emails with Larry.
Yeah, sometimes it pays to not mess around, right? We've seen that on some of the live sales shows we've done where people negotiate until somebody else just steps in and pays full price or a higher price. And yeah, it doesn't pay to mess around sometimes, especially not on stuff that you really need.
I do think Nick made a mistake thinking he needed my page when he really didn't.
That is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And when I posted it on Facebook, a collector reached out and said, "You want a 464 page?" And that's when it was like I said, it's like it. But it was stupidity that worked out.
Yeah. You can never have enough apparel pages, right, Nick?
No, you can never have enough apparel pages.
And that's a great page. The way Plastic Man just pops out. I mean, that's just awesome.
And that's that. Now I have. So this goes a step further. So, Bill, as you know, I had the complete book to Brave and Bold 122 when we did the Jordan thing.
Yep.
So I now have the complete issue of Brave and Bold 121, 122, and 123. So not only do I have the complete 123, this actually allows me to have 3 issues in a row complete.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's pretty insane. It's hard to imagine.
The covers too, Nick?
no, I only have the cover to 122. I only have the cover with Swamp Thing.
And, you know, that's prime apparel. When I was packing it up and taking one last look at it, it's such a personal piece by him because he did the pencils, he did the inks, he did the lettering. It's just all him. You know, that was amazing that he did that.
Yeah, Paul Levitz told the story that, you know, because Jim was exclusive with DC basically his entire career once he left Charlton.
Yeah.
And Paul said every year when Jim negotiated his contract, he would come in and say, this is how many books I want to do. This is how many pages I want to do so that I can spend this much time with my family. So he was very regimented. And as he got older and Mike DiCarlo and other people linked him, you know, things changed. He did less. But when he was doing all that back in the day, I mean, like you said, it's like every single ounce apparel, and it was just so perfect. So, like I said, I mean, look, I say this all the time. This is the best community in the world. I mean, you know, Kevin Brogan, knowing that I had the showcase, offer me the adventure, just everything. Just put it, you know, these guys, you know, and Rob and I have had this discussion, you know, paying it forward always helps too in our industry. I had a cover that Rob really wanted, and we did a deal on it, and because it was one of his grails, and a few things came together for me where I ended up getting a Frank Miller Marvel team up cover and the Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man page from that, which, you know, never should have happened, but it all came together. So our community is great when we pay it forward.
You've been pretty lucky, Nick.
I have.
But you've done good things for so many others as well.
Yeah, I try.
You know,
All you can do is try.
so after all that, I mean, Rob and Larry, I mean, how was the show for you guys after your experience with Nick to start Saturday?
Go ahead, Rob. You first.
That Nick asked me the same thing. That's the only piece I sold that day.
Oh, that's too bad.
Day. So
No other inquiries?
no. I mean, a lot of people looking and stuff, but no, not really.
Well,
but it's Bill. Sometimes you do great. Sometimes you sell nothing. So
this show was a little, in sales, it was down. I mean, dollar wise, it was probably down about 25% from the last couple shows, but total sales too, as far as I think we were at like 700 the last show in May. And I think there were right now around 540. So overall, total sales were down too. So it was a bit slower. But
we also, Bill, Nick and I were talking about this last night.
Uh-huh.
We're also right before two major heritage auctions that are just, I mean, Nick said it the best. He says it's an embarrassment of riches is what it is.
Right.
Well, it must be impossible for you to time these days, Bill.
Anymore. Yeah, well, nobody can, right? There was a Hakes auction yesterday, the Heritage Weekly auction. Tuesday was Comic Link. Yeah. Comic Connect is starting theirs today, I think.
No, Comic Link starts today. The new one starts today. Comic Connect starts on Monday.
Okay, but the Comic Link Focus one ended on Tuesday, and so you've got all this stuff happening, and there's just it is what you say. It's an embarrassment of riches. There's just too much material out there now, and what am I supposed to do? I set these dates. This is my 6th convention, so the 3rd time I've hosted it on the exact same weekend. And they had that Heritage, whatever they were doing down in Dallas that weekend too. I mean, that was mostly comics guys, but but they had invited every big buyer that was out there. Albert was invited, Mike was invited. I mean, I don't think I talked to an art dealer that wasn't asked to go there. Most of them didn't go, but again, there's too many people competing for, too many buyers at the end of the day. I was happy to have as much art as we had in that show, but, because it was 1,000 pieces more than the show before, but that didn't equate to, more sales, more individual sales.
It's the amount, it's just the amount of, not just the amount of material, it's the amount of quality material.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, it's mind boggling. I mean, it's like they just, like Nick and I were saying, Heritage just keeps coming up with more and more stuff, and it's like, God. I mean, I was in the auction business for 10 years, and it's just, I never saw stuff like this.
Well, right. I'm going to throw one other thing out, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
People are still doing deals based on CAFCON Live. I'm still working on 2 deals right now that one was completed, and it's with Francesco Bonanza in Italy. We did a deal. And the other deal, it's basically figuring out with the offer he gave me, which pieces I want to get. So, and I know that a few other people are still doing deals. So I think part of what's still happening, like today's Heritage, there was a lot of big ticket items. And the only piece I was going to go for, I really enjoyed that Mary Jane with the ring, the Ramita cover.
Yeah.
But Mike really wanted it. So I was like, all right, well, that's the only thing I was going to go after today. So, but, you could see where like everybody's saying, you could see where the prices have been going. And it was like, there's still so much hitting this tomorrow and Sunday. And Comic Link. So let's see. You had Comic Link that ended. You had Hakes that ended. Comic Link launching. Heritage finishing. Comic Connect launching on Monday. And then December 9th or 10th or 11th, the next Heritage auction with 200 more lots. And with artwork that feels like it's been in a cave for decades, because there are a couple of Perez covers that people have been dying for so long. It's just crazy. A Walt Simonson, Dr. Fate splash. It's like, oh my God, this is mind-boggling. So while I think maybe sales were down and a little bit more sluggish, I think all the deals came after the show was over. Look, and to
No, that's
be
still happening. I mean, we're still, even from the live streams, I haven't been able to get final sales counts from Ken Carson, like on the Greg Land sale, because people are still wheeling and dealing and trying to complete sales. And that was from a live stream on Sunday. And I keep checking back, and the sale count continues to go up. So people are they're still recording them like they're supposed to, but yeah, well, but it is. It's just a challenging situation that we're in right now. And look at dueling dealers. We've had it's been tough. Definitely tough for Mike. Mike's lost like 18 of the last 20, because he brings stuff that is more like what you're seeing on Heritage, on their signature auctions and Comic Link, and it's really affecting him. Whereas Anthony, he's got a diverse set of stuff and it's still moving, right? But Mike's been struggling to do really well. So it's just it's definitely a peculiar moment. I mean, there's still tons of money being spent. That's without question.
Numbers can be deceiving to an extent too. I was way down money wise because in the last CAF Live show, I sold a big monster piece, but I still did sold 4 out of 11. I only brought 11, sold 4, not bad for an enjoyable weekend. I'll do it every time.
Anthony's in the audience; his ears are burning. Yeah, no. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think the May show, we're really not up against anything, whereas this one we've always been up against the Heritage Signature Auction, because it is always that third weekend in November. So, but when I was only competing against that, it was a lot easier, I think. What are you going to do? But
you're going to just do the shows, and we all have choices, which is the fun part, and just sitting there going through everything is fun. I mean, look, at the very least, I don't think as much art was new as the last bunch of CAFCON lives, but there were still deals to be had and everything else. But like Peter Rowe said, the money that's being realized with some of these pieces right now in the auctions are so high that people that have art are like, oh my God, now it's worth putting up there because the money being realized is so high. And people that have a lot of money can still afford these big prices. So,
well, it's funny you're talking about big prices and stuff. I did sort of an unscientific look at certain artists with about an hour left to the show, and to see how their work was going. Now, I don't know if it's a function of so many events, a function of the economy, or so many, or people just aging out of the hobby to a certain degree. But with like an hour left to the event, there was only one Jack Kirby piece that was sold. There was only one John Buscema piece that was sold. There was only one Gil Kane, only one Ramita Senior piece that was sold. And I'm wondering if, it's more of a philosophical discussion. I'm wondering if guys like us are sort of being aged out a little bit too.
Well,
so
or you've got your good ones,
what
right?
you have to offer.
Right. And that was my argument to, well, not an argument. We were talking about it after the show last night. That was what I told Mike. I'm like, people got their good Kirby's now and their good John Buscema's, and it's harder to kind of decide to upgrade or buy one that's comparable to one that they've already got, and that's kind of how I laid it out to him. And whether they're aging out or they're just like, I'm satisfied with what I got, I don't need to keep going after, another Kirby, or another Starlin. I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough. You can only own so many.
But to add to Larry's statement, some of the things, being aged out from certain artists and whatnot, I'm seeing some stuff that goes in the Heritage. Some like there was I forget what cover it was. It was a Ghost Rider cover from the 90s. I forget what number it was, 48 or whatever it was. But man, that thing went for like almost $50,000.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, at
least I think so.
I mean, if I had that on my website, I could maybe get $5,000-6,000 for it. If I put $50,000 on that thing, I mean, I don't see it. I mean, I just, and that's just one example.
I'm 58, so maybe that's why I don't see it. It's all a generational turn.
It's also, look, we should never lose sight of the fact that it is the heat of the moment. And there are still, I know a few people, there's two things I know a few people do at the very least. I probably know more than two things. I start with two and then I'll add six more. But one, there's still people that do not consider the buyer's premium a cost. It's like, and my whole thing is, does the money leave your pocket? Any penny that leaves your pocket, whether it's the buyer's premium, taxes, or shipping, it's a cost. You can't say it's not a cost. The other thing is that in an auction, you pretty much know this is disappearing and not coming back. And Bill has said this before. Like, you could look at a piece on an art dealer site for months, and you're like, it'll be there next month, it'll be there, and then all of a sudden it disappears. But it's not the same call to action. It is not the same call to action. It's the same with eBay, only Heritage has a wider net. They have more international customers, although, considering how strong the dollar is, I don't know how that may or may not have affected the auction. But it is absolutely FOMO, like Dino's saying. It is absolutely FOMO, because if you don't get it now, who's going to buy it and either put it in their collection for another 10 years, or who's going to buy it and put it up for 50% more in a month, So everybody just jumps in.
Yeah, and at Heritage, it only takes two motivated individuals who want the same piece. Maybe that was the case with that Ghost Rider cover. I don't, it's possible.
Right. I mean, we see it all the time. I think that at the end of the day, when it's at Heritage or Comic Link, someone's walking away with it, and you have a chance to be that one person. And I think that's back to the FOMO thing. You have this opportunity, and it is like a sporting event sometimes with these things, and it does move things along. But again, it just all leads back to there's so much of that now, because so much good material is getting out into the market all at once from so many different sources. It's maddening, but fun to watch. I mean, whether you're a buyer or you're not a buyer, I'm enjoying it.
Fun and frustrating. I'll tell you, Mark Levy this weekend had a
Mark did really well during the show.
Yeah. But he had this Howard Chaykin Scorpio Connection page with Nick Fury and Wolverine. Now, I actually have 24 pages from that graphic novel, and I've been trying to pick up pages here and there over the last few years. I saw what Mark was offering it at, and I said, well, I guess I got good news and bad news. The good news is the value of the pages I have are worth a hell of a lot more than I thought they were. The bad news is I can't afford to buy any more pages or even think about completing this book, because it's crazy. I'm looking at it like this is like late 80s, and 6 years ago we were picking up those pages for $200 to $500. Mark, I know. Yeah, it wasn't for me to say that it didn't sell, but the price was still. I don't think you would have dropped the price like 80% to sell it. So it may not have sold, but it's still a strong number. And I looked at a Heritage from a little bit ago. They sold a page for $3,600. So even at $3,600, it's like, at least I got the pages that I got, and I'm happy with it. So that's all I can say. I mean, the same thing is happening with Garney. I've got a lot of Garney, and I've sold a lot of Garney on the show for like $53 and $75, for my birthday and my mom's birthday. And then Comic Link last night, it was a good splash. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good splash, but they sold a Garney Ghost Rider splash for $1,400. I'm like, okay, I don't think I can afford to do $53 and $75 anymore. Especially now, Garney's taken all of his art off the market. He just decided not to sell it anymore.
Well, that's everybody's having a problem with that.
Mark, oh my God, Mark, I'm not criticizing your
I wasn't
price.
sure if Mark was serious about that. I didn't think you weren't criticizing his price.
I was not criticizing your Mark wholeheartedly. I was not criticizing your price. The only thing I was saying is it may not have sold, but you weren't going to give a huge discount. I was being matter of fact, man. I am absolutely positively not criticizing it. Everybody can price everything where they want. And my only comment was that while you said it didn't sell, and I was never going to say it didn't sell, that you weren't going to give, that you couldn't give a big discount. That's all I was saying.
You just broke Alberto's heart too by saying Garney took his stuff off the market.
Yeah.
But no, I was talking with Bob McLeod, on Tuesday, and he was talking about that same thing. He's like, I have all this art, and I'm afraid to put it out there because I don't know how to price it anymore. And
look, and Fish is saying
I understand it.
Yeah, and Fish is saying it. Look, we were all this weekend's Comic Art Live was a lot of defensive pricing. It was defensive pricing. It was, if this sells, what am I going to how can I ever replace it? I need to get enough that if I sell this and want to replace the art, that I can afford to get something equal. And absolutely, I had aggressive pricing. Everybody had aggressive pricing, and I only sold 2 pieces, but for me, setting up this weekend was a little bit more about, okay, I know I'm starting this at 10 o'clock Saturday morning and finishing it at 10 o'clock Sunday night. So I may as well put a few pieces up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's see. You have it, snatch it out of my cold hands deal. Oh my God. Let's see. It doesn't pay itself cheap if you can't buy one. Exactly.
I get what we're all saying here. It's just that, I didn't walk away being disappointed by the weekend at all. I thought that we had the same amount of activity that we had in May, just the buyers, weren't pulling the trigger during the weekend. So, it is what it is. This doesn't deter us from wanting to do it again. Yeah, James Siegel did sell his $33. What was it? Oh, that's right. It was a Child's Play page. Hey, you never know what you're going to sell, James, during the show. You just never know. And Nick, I know you sold that cover for a little bit more than I think you were offered on your show the day before. So, that
no, it was less. It was the price I had told West. West is the person who bought it because he saw it on my show.
Right.
And then
he had offered you I thought he offered you a little less than you got it for. Maybe I'm forgetting, but I saw your show on that Friday. But still, it still comes back to you just never know. It's that momentary, where you just have to decide whether or not you're going to let that piece go or you're not. Oh yeah, James says he sold half his lots, but he only brought 2. Everybody, and it was like a $20,000 piece and a $33 piece, and the $33 one sold. So that's a good percentage, though, James. 50%. I like when I hear people sold 50% of what they brought, except in your case.
I was actually hoping that I would get honestly more trade. That's really what I was looking for. And even the deal that I ended up doing with West, that's going to probably be, and we haven't finalized it. The way I worked it out with West was really very matter of fact. I said, look, I'll look at what you have for trade, and whatever we figure out for trade will be trade. And if not, the 27.5 is the price. I had it on for 30 the night before, and he and I came to the meeting of, if we can work out trade so you don't have to spend any money, we'll both be happy. I'll get art, you'll get art, and we'll both be happy. But if not, we figured out the price. That's why I adjusted my price based on what I sold it at to keep it there.
Sure. So, Larry, did you sell any more than just the one piece to Nick, or what was the?
Yeah, no, I sold a couple of pieces. Yeah, I sold a nice Carol Day strip from back in the was it 50s? Yeah, a couple Hager the Horrible pieces. I did okay.
Oh, that's right. I was in your booth on Sunday. That's right. I saw the Hagar pieces in there. That's
yeah. As far as pricing goes, I try to go with the spirit of the event. Like you always wrote, price to sell. No, not really negotiating. It's like when I sent you back that email, Nick. I'm not one of those guys who on Sunday at the last hour is going to send an announcement out 10% off everything. I'm not a dealer. These are one of a kind pieces of art that we love. But if someone wants to ask me directly one-on-one, hey, will you take this? Well, of course I'll entertain an offer at that point. But, it's the spirit of this event. When you try to look at comps to see what you're going to price things for, you really have to take the heritage of the world with a grain of salt, because there is all the juice in those prices, and it could have been just two guys bidding it up. And this is more of a, I don't know, like a family event to me. It's not a big professional thing. So, that's where I look to inspiration from what Bill wrote to keep things priced to sell. So that's what I try to do.
I don't insist, but I do try to get that. But it's after 6 shows, you do start seeing some pieces come back. Alberto mentioned that it was disappointing to see some folks post same pieces that have been out there before, or at the same price or even higher.
I had a couple of the same pieces out there, but I always put new pieces out there too, because it's someone's first event.
It doesn't make any sense to me. As if I was a seller, I wouldn't want to be putting the same pieces out, because if they didn't sell the first time and then you move them back to your calf classifieds, why bring them back again? You should either be bringing new stuff or if you're bringing the old stuff, you got to discount it. If you want to move it, because aren't we here to sell art, right? And buy art, not just look at it and wonder whether or not the pricing is accurate. So I don't know. You can it's tough, but it's tough to keep everybody kind of focused on the spirit of the show, which is really, I want art to move. I'd like to sell 25% of what's brought, not just 10%. Right. And so, but how do we get there? I'm not quite sure, but, I still enjoy the show for what it's at least brought out. And I think that it's been good for CAF, brought a lot of new users to CAF. And we see a few more pieces than we would have seen otherwise.
To answer Alex's question, what I think is going to happen probably next year, prices aren't going to go down. They're just not. But I do feel next year prices are going to level off, and whatever the new market value is going to be the new market value. And I don't think you're going to see people pricing anything overly aggressively, worrying that they're leaving money on the table or they can't replace it as well. So I think that's what you're going to see a little bit more of. You're going to see everything being a little bit steadier. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think, that's the whole point. I've said that before, is that people, if you paid $1,000 for something a year ago, you're not going to sell it for $900 today. So you're going to hold it. If it isn't going to sell for at least $1,100, or you're not going to sell it, if it's not going to sell for at least $1,000, you're not going to let it go. Nobody's going to do that. So when you can say the market would soften, it's more or less, we as who hold those pieces aren't going to take a loss on them, unless you're really, really after something really badly, right? I mean, and that does happen, but by and large, I mean, it would be really difficult to see prices drop in our hobby just for that reason alone. And we all value our pieces more, right? I get this thing and I paid $1,500 for it. I think it's worth $1,800. So that's the way we all look at these things. So yeah. I get the mentality. I mean, I've got it myself.
But I don't, Nick and I were talking about this. I don't think, a lot of times when we're buying, I'm assuming all of us are collectors here too. Mm-hmm. We buy and sell, but we're collectors. We love, we love the stories. We love the characters. We grew up with them. They're part of us. They're part of really who we are. And I was telling Nick, when Nick sold me the Adventure 435 cover a couple of years ago, I said, it's the most I've ever paid for a personal item. It was a lot, mm-hmm. But the price was fair. And so, but I told Nick, I said, when buying a piece like this, it's almost like you're recapturing a piece of your childhood.
And in a way, you can't just, the comics are great and the comics drew us in, but having that original art is one step closer to the artist. And the fact that these are one of a kinds really, really just make a difference. And look, I love holding an old comic, but holding a page of art like this, I think it's as exciting it's almost impossible to complete comics. I mean, forget it. Once they go into the wild, it's almost impossible. On the few that I've been able to complete, it's been really lucky where like less than 4 pages were missing, and everything just takes time. But trying to complete a book is like trying to complete a run of a comic series that you're trying to put together, but it's just so much more personal when it's the original art. Because let's say you love all the Burn FF and you want to complete that run, that's relatively easy. Even in today's market, that's an affordable run. But yeah, I mean, we all just try and recapture a piece of our childhood.
I don't have $15,000 for a Burn FF page anymore. I wish I did.
Well, that's why you got to buy the $4,000 ones from later in the run.
True. Or earlier ones. I could go for the ones before his main run. Anything before 237.
But when you own a cover, or you own a splash, or even a panel page, I don't think there's anything better than that in our industry. I mean, you own the comic book. You own what it was produced from. What more can you? There's nothing. I don't know what's better than that.
Yeah. And just to give Marcus leverage over me, it's Brave and the Bold 121 and Brave and the Bold 123. Those are the 2 covers. So just Marcus wants to buy it and give it to Albert to sell to me so that it's even more money. But no, I mean, look, this is all the fun that we have. I mean, look, we're all a little flustered to a degree. Like I said, this weekend selling was a lot of defensive selling. If I sell, what can I replace it with? We all had different reasons. Am I leaving money on the table? Am I going to sell it to somebody who's going to flip it, and then I feel like crap that I got taken advantage of? There's just so much. But even Alberto just put it out there. I mean, a 35-page Alpha Flight without all the main characters, Guardian was dead, not all the characters were there, went for $144,000 today. I mean, that was an incredible price. Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to go for not much more, but definitely higher than that. I thought it garnered.
It was probably a dealer that bought it. It's going to break it up, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But usually, I mean, more often than not, when a full story comes up for sale, the sale price of that's going to be lower than if you break it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be 12, 15, 20 years ago, you paid a premium for a complete book. Now you're getting a discount for a complete book, which to me, I mean, I get, when I'm buying a complete book, I don't mind. But it's just the convenience of having it all in one fell swoop. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, 'cause if you don't get a complete book, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
To piece of a story together. I mean, Nick, you know that probably better than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Crisis 8 story, but you bought it, in
all at once. Yeah, I bought it complete. So
and I'm sure there's no amount of money that would ever get that out of you.
My nephews and my goddaughter will be splitting that up 4 ways with 1 page each going to my siblings. I mean, I look at that book once or twice a month. I mean, I look at that book once or twice a month. It is my all-time favorite book. And there are pieces that I will look at over and over and over again. Matter of fact, last night, while I was looking at this, I was like, oh, let me look at a little bit more of my apparel. And I was looking at the apparel, and I ended up spending 2 hours looking at my art last night. It was just nice and calming because I got the 1 page in yesterday because I just asked for it to be sent overnight on Monday. And of course, UPS misplaced it and it didn't show up till Wednesday, which gave me heart palpitations. Yeah. I mean, look, the best community in the world. This really is the best community in the world. And that's why we're always here watching the live streams. We're having fun. We're enjoying each other's company, you know?
There is still nothing like it when you are flipping through pages on your computer screen, seeing what's at auction, seeing what's for sale on CAF, looking at the classifieds, and then suddenly that page shows up from a book from your childhood that was one of the books. Everything just stops. You just stare at it. And then you start making plans. Well, wow, I didn't think I was going to buy anything right now. I'm mostly selling things at my age. How am I going to put this together? Am I going to do this or not? But that moment is still the most incredible moment you could ever experience.
Especially when something comes up that you've been searching for like
forever. Yeah.
I remember, I'll share a little story. I remember I was surfing on CAF. This was about, I want to say 2015, and it was a Sunday morning. I'm usually at church on Sunday, but this Sunday I was home. I was home, and I was just searching, and the cover to Spectre number 12 came up, Volume 2 by Jerry Bingham. I mean, just a killer cover, and I've been looking for that since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Tom Fanfare had it. So I went out there and I pressed that buy now. And then I called them. I said, hey, I want to make sure I called them on a Sunday and they were there. I want to make sure I got this. And they said, yeah, you got it. I said, okay, I'll FedEx out you a money order tomorrow. But it's stuff like Larry said, it's so unexpected, but you're just like, wow.
When Bill interviewed me a few years ago, or a couple of years ago, it was, I guess, my favorite comic book was Avengers 15. And there were literally no known pages from that book that any collector that I knew of had. Jim Engel ended up having this back page. And so that's in a deep, dark hole that's never coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly there was a person on CAF who had one. Now, this was probably 25 years or more of me searching. Person on CAF had one. I emailed him. And it was like the only piece he had on CAF. He never emailed me back. Emailed him again. Never emailed me back. This went on for like 3 years. Never heard back from this person. Then suddenly it came up for auction. And then a second one came up for auction. So I know of now 4 pieces from that book. And I'm lucky enough to have 2 of them.
Sweet.
But it was unbelievable. I mean, I went my entire life, well into my 40s, with nothing. Like no pages existed from that book whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, there we go.
Is that Kirby?
I'm gonna get something.
That's Kirby layouts, Heck drawing, and Mike Esposito on inks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, but I think we were kind of mentioning that earlier. Sometimes it's people, it's those guys who are kind of leaving the hobby, whether they're passing away or whatever. It's shaking a few pieces out, or they're just selling. I mean, I hear that story a lot these days. A lot of dealers are getting a lot of their inventory from guys who are in their early 60s, kind of just getting out of the hobby, bought stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, had it on the wall in their, in their law firm, in their office or something for a long period of time, and then just decided to start letting it go because what are you going to do with it? They don't want to give it to their kids, and they're not savvy at that point enough to know that that maybe things could be better if they took it to Heritage or whatever. So
that reminds me of that story of that Superman painting that was hanging in the office at DC for decades, and then just disappeared. And everybody thought it was lost. And then they found it decades later hanging in Brooklyn College or something like that in New York City, just hanging there in some room. There it was. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Just to reinforce that this is the best community in the world, we got a package from Ronald He sent me, Amy, Rex, and John a gift. This is what Ronald sent me. And he got Amy The Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's just a watercolor from Eric Deniz. And I've got it in my office in one of my frames right now. I'm going to keep it there till Christmas. So this was much appreciated. So just best community in the world, you know?
That was very nice, Ronald. Well, heck, you sent me those that color sketch cover by Hazer. You know, I mean, I haven't gotten since the move. I wanted to show it to somebody, and I it's packed away in a portfolio. But stuff like that, I mean, it does make makes things all the more fun. I mean, when everybody's willing to kind of give back. So, that's awesome. Ronald's a great guy, and I know he picks up a lot of stuff on your show.
Yeah. And that's the one nice thing about our show. Like Ronald came into the community and joined CAF from checking out our shows and then us talking about Dueling Dealers. And it just grows the community. And that's all we can do. We can grow the community one fan at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think we're eating a lot into this, and I think we're going to have Chris Snork sitting there at 11:30. Like, are we starting anytime soon?
He hasn't emailed me yet.
We know I can talk.
No, well, this I had no idea where we were going to go with this once we got in there. I just figured it was a nice surprise, but it was good. I wanted to have. As soon as you told me your story and I asked you to be on, I immediately emailed Rob and Larry and said, "Can you guys spare?" I think I said, "Can you spare 20 minutes?" So I thought that would be what we would have.
Hey, real quick, Comic Art Boston. Yes, it was. I just want to answer his question. Yes, it was Masters of Evil.
There you go. But yeah, no, we should do this again. It's been I don't have groups on too often anymore since we stopped doing those collector conversations almost a year ago. It feels like. So no, this was good. This was a really this was fun. We haven't Rob. I've never had you on the show before. Would you ever do an interview?
I would. Nick Catradis and I were talking about doing one together.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
because Nick, I think Nick was one of the first people I asked, just because, I know he'd be interesting to have on, and he's always turned me down. Early on it was he didn't have a webcam, and then he was
You'll never get him. He's one of my best friends in the hobby. You'll never get him. Never.
He's like, I'll drop an F-bomb every minute, and your audience will hate me. Or
we'll get him. Just I don't know why he's being so shy, because he's
not shy.
Rob will get him. Rob will get him.
All right. Well,
so outgoing and larger than life.
You know what? Both of you should say, "Hey, Nick, we were already on one show with a Nick. Now we need the real Nick on the air."
Well,
we need both Nicks. That way I don't have to say anything. They'll just let them talk.
Oh man. But let's email afterwards, Rob. If you can work on Nick, that's cool. And if not,
sure. I'd
love to have you on. I mean, I don't know why I didn't ask you earlier. But so archangels.com, right? Or am I getting the domain name wrong? I'm trying to remember.
No, it's archangels.com.
Archangels.com.
It's ARCH.
CH. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
Plenty of art for sale there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
And Bill, thanks for having us.
Hey, it was my pleasure having all three of you on. Thank you so much. And Nick, it was a great story, and there's plenty more out there. But I'm glad we got to share yours tonight. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Wow, man, wasn't that fun? So I think I surprised Nick there. That was the whole goal on that one. That was it was a very good time. I'm glad we got to do that. And I didn't have an agenda with it. I just thought it'd be interesting to get them all together, especially since both Larry and Rob played a role in Nick having a good start to his show, even though it ended up being a miss. And then fortuitous post on Facebook leads to another purchase. You just never know, right? So, but it pays to be social. I think that's one of the things that, I think in our hobby, we talk about the friendships that we make. Those things tend to lead to good pickups, and other opportunities. But sometimes being social, putting your wants out there on CAF or on Facebook, like Nick has done. I mean, you post stuff from your collection out there. Somebody's bound to see that you're interested in a certain pattern, whether it's artists or titles or whatnot, and something like that happens. And I'm sure it happens more often than not. I don't post a lot of what I collect out there on Facebook or whatnot, but yeah, it's a good approach. I mean, just be for those people who are open about what they like and what they collect. I'm sure it's paid dividends in the long run. But Marcus, my search for apparel covers begins. So, all right, and you know which ones to go for first. But yes, it was nice. It's always good to hear from Nick. And remember, Nick is on the EXP Fridays 7 to 8 p.m. And I did see Chris in there. I'll try to keep things fast for the rest of the night, Chris. I won't talk about Comic Art Live anymore tonight. Plenty more to talk about there. I will be sending an email out to exhibitors tomorrow with just to kind of give everybody the rundown on how to leave feedback for buyers, and I hope that we'll have the mechanism for buyers to leave feedback back to sellers after the seller leaves feedback for the buyer. So it's a little bit of a convoluted process, and it has a few holes in it. Of course, when we were running through the data, one of the interesting things was, of course, that buyer sees a piece of art that a seller has, communicates about that one piece, and then in the chain of communication about that one piece, buys 3 or 4 more pieces. But of course, he didn't email the seller about those pieces because he negotiated it after the first email. Well, guess what? I don't have that buyer tied to the seller now because he didn't bother communicating through the site. He did it on one piece. So the seller isn't tied back to leave feedback for the buyer 5 times. For instance, if they bought 5 pieces of art, they're only tied once. Similarly, I had one person buy 4 pieces from a seller, and then after the emails were done, they said, I want to buy 2 more. And then they bought 2 more, and without sending an email through the site. So same issue there. It's like they can leave 4 feedbacks for that person, but can't do 2 more. So it's going to be, we got to kind of work through that setup a little bit differently. And then of course, if a person isn't logged in, because on CAF to communicate, you have to be logged in to send an email, right, to another CAF, to a CAF art owner. And on Comic Art Live, we don't restrict communications to just CAF members, because I want more sales to happen, right? So I want to allow people to make purchases if they're not logged in. And so when somebody submits an inquiry and they're not logged in, even if they are a CAF member and not logged in, the seller can't leave feedback for the buyer now. So there's changes in those pages, probably even on the communication page, either to encourage people to either log in or register as part of it, so that they can kind of be tied into the chain. And because at the end of the day, the seller once this feedback system's in place, sellers are going to want to get feedback. They're not going to want somebody who's not logged in to do those sorts of things. So a little bit of figuring out there, but we'll get through it, I'm sure. So one of the interesting things that I mentioned this, I think that might get a little legs, is that we were talking about potentially having an artist only con in August. So continuing to do our May and November shows that are popular with everybody, especially collectors. Collectors by and large make up the lion's share of the art that goes into those 2 shows, then dealers and then artists. But it just hasn't caught on with artists for whatever reason. I think Andy Fish said, or somebody told me that they didn't think that artists were really wanted to, we wanted artists to be in there. And of course, I've always wanted them to. So potentially doing a show that's just artists or and artist reps would be interesting, be a little bit different. And then the focus would be completely on just the artists exhibiting. It's a lot like that IX show, right? All artists exhibit at that show. It does really well. That maybe the buying pool isn't gigantic, but the people going in, that's what they're there for. So that's something that we're talking about. So, hey, I told you I got packages to open. Why don't we open up some stuff? Let's see what we got here. I know that this first package is Maureen's, and it was something that she bought during Comic Art Live. And Maureen's a big Captain America fan. I hate to tell you, but she does not go for the big pieces. So I know that she was doing some shopping, and I believe this came from, She was trying to patronize the artist. So I think this one came from the Frame Brothers, maybe. What is it? Does it list their names on here? What is it? Brandon and Brian or Brendan? I'm not looking at the site, so I can't tell for sure. I'll just cut it this way too. Make my life easier. But so I'm assuming a lot of people are starting to get their Comic Art Live artworks in the mail, or picking them up locally if they were lucky enough. Let's see here. It's not even Christmas yet. And I haven't even gotten to the art yet. How many layers is it? Well, first I thought this wasn't packed well, but now I see that they did actually have multiple layers on here. There we go. Man, they follow the Mikhail rules here. Not with painter's tape, though, but pretty close. And this thing is just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped. It is a Captain America. Maureen did not show it to me beforehand, so let's see what we got. Looks like it's on. If I was Anthony, I'd probably say, what is that? 9 by 12, 10 by 14, something like that. So there you go. That was from the Frame Brothers for Maureen. Is it signed? Oh yeah, there you go. Brandon and Brian. It looks like it says. So congrats to Mo on getting a piece of art. I know that she actually picked up a few other pieces, so that's her first one in. This one came from Mr. Vosberg. He told me he wanted to send me something in the mail after we did the art sale the week and before Comic Art Live. So this feels like a book. Let's see what he sent me. Very nice Maureen developer. Yes, Maureen does a good job. She's been working very diligently on that feedback system for me. So I want everybody to use it when we get to that point, because she has put a lot of effort into it. All right, what do we got here? We've got, well, there you go. He sent me a copy of the book that was from the most of the artwork that we sold. This is the omnibus for Lori Lovecraft. So there you go. Wow, there's a lot in here. Yeah, very nice. Well, now I can read the complete Lori Lovecraft. Oh, and then he sent me a retro wood. I was asking him about retro wood. That is nice too. Well, there you go. Some gifts from Mr. Vosberg. Thank you, Mike, for those. And let's see, Anthony's last. His package is the biggest. Boy, that didn't come out right, did it? Sorry. Hope Sharon wasn't in the room for that. This one I bought because I interviewed Matt Allison on Sunday during Comic Art Live. So I bought this right after my interview with Matt. And Anthony says he's approaching 80,000 feedback on eBay. Well, Anthony, what's going to be more impressive is when you reach 80,000 feedback on Comic Art Fans. That's all I have to say. Yes, very much the poor choice of words there. All right. So yeah, if you didn't get the chance to catch my interview with Matt, it was a lot of fun. Matt's actually going to be down here in March. I think the beginning of March. So I'm going to try to get together with him and Aaron Conley. I guess Aaron Conley is near Orlando. So they're both doing some small show there, and I'm going to go hang out with them. So this was that Cancor. This was oh, yep. See, this was the remarked version. So now, oh, yeah, nice. I hate this camera. One of these days, over here, back to here. Come on. Man, look at that. I'm all blurry now. Every time I show something, I'll hold it right here. That looks better. So I'm very happy to have gotten that. It was a fun conversation with Matt, and it was nice getting to know him. Had never met him or talked to him before. So I picked that up. He has like this combo. So you get the let's see, you get a sketchbook, you get some stickers. Mikhail, I know, well, you probably already have this, Mikhail, but like you get stickers. Mikhail loves stickers. I got a mini print, a few other things, even a card. So definitely worth it. It was like $100. So I like to, when somebody takes the time to hang out and do that, I tend to try to pick something up from them at the same time. Now, this is the package from Anthony. I didn't order anything from you, Anthony, so I haven't a clue what could be in it. Let's see. Could it be Hulk with pearls? Another one. Was there another one out there that Anthony found Let's see. It's not a free portfolio. Or am I wrong? No, it's not a portfolio. What do we got? How many layers? Oh, it is a portfolio. Son of a gun, Anthony. I've gotten like 6 packages from Anthony. And the last 6, none of them had a portfolio in it. Well, this one does. All right. Did I order something, Anthony? I don't think I did. What do we got here? What kind of tape job is this? Man, I think to hack this thing open. All right, so it's got the customary stickers, of course, Dueling Dealers, and oh, we did get something. I forgot about that. See, that wasn't me. I wasn't. This was Gwen wanting this piece. This was that Jonathan Lau Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady piece. I'll take it out of the portfolio. I forgot all about. That's why I didn't think about it, because she was the one who asked me to ask Anthony for it. This was on Dueling Dealers a couple weeks ago, I think, and did not sell. So when it didn't sell, Gwen said she ran in and told me that she wanted it. So there you go. Gwen has picked up another piece of art for her collection. Thank you, Anthony. Maybe he realized. Yeah, exactly. Well, that was very nice. You know what? Gwen actually just went back up to Ohio too. So she's going to be up there through the end of the new year. She is working with my son at the zoo in Cleveland doing some stuff. So she's got a little temporary job there. But yeah, Gwen-tastic. Thank you, Anthony, for that. I appreciate that. She's gonna love it when she gets back. I don't think she was watching tonight. So with it's a good way. This is a perfect segue. Now, many of you probably did not watch the show on Sunday. That when Anthony actually shaved his head. It was a spectacle, and it was spectacular all at once. But who was the artist? It was Jonathan Lau. Jonathan Lau. Very nicely done piece. Not published, but you never know. Maybe it could be one day. So Anthony started out the show. I thought about playing what he did to start it up, but I won't do that. He was dressed as Elvis, and he did a very funny song. It would be good for a Dueling Dealers intro. But he did go and shave his head, and it was very, very interesting. But before he did all of that, he did a dramatic reading. And so we did play his dramatic reading on Sunday. But again, I'm sure many of you did not see this dramatic reading that Anthony and Sharon put together. And while I don't know the issue, it's it is a very it's a very romantic moment for the two of them, and not in that way, everybody, not in that way. It is wonderful. So you know what? Actually, where is the thing? Oh, yes. Now I remember. Okay, I got to swing over to a different one little thing here to change, and then I'm going to play it for you right now. So it is great. You're going to enjoy it. And it's called, it's from Girls Love, the comic, if you remember it. And away we go.
Do you know how it feels to have your heart walk away from you? I went back to my room and cried for days. But in the end, something happened to me. You, this is all your fault! You aren't Sharon anymore. You're a stranger. A spiteful, artificial stranger. But I won't live your life any longer. I won't! I know smashing that mirror was foolish, but there had to be an ending. The girl I had become had to disappear forever. The girl I had become wasn't real. She was a shadow. I brushed her away, and then I went to Tony.
Sharon, what have you done to yourself?
Oh, Tony, don't you know? I guess neither of us liked the new Sharon very much. She wasn't very likable. Oh, so I sent her away. Please don't send me away, too. There's so much I have to say to you. So much I'm sorry for.
I won't send you away, Marcy. And there's nothing you can say. The way you look says it all. Oh, Marcy, you little fool. Don't you understand? I wanted for months to tell you that I love you, but how could I? When you changed, I fell in love with you, but you changed too much. Sharon, could you, will you marry me?
Marry you? No, Tony, no. Oh, you know why? Because you deserve better than me. You deserve better than a flirt or a wallflower. I tried to be fair. I loved Tony, and I didn't want to hurt him, but he grinned, that big grin of his, and, well, I'm only human.
Sure, I deserve better than you right now. You look pretty grim, but there's no law that says you can't change again, is there? After all, what's wrong with makeup and miniskirts? It's just a matter of how much makeup and how many is many, right?
Yes, Tony. Oh, yes. Tony kissed me in the sky, spun like a pinwheel, and I knew that I would never leave his arms again. I'm still the most popular girl in town, with Tony anyway. But after all, who else matters?
Now I get my cake and eat it too.
Such a good one. I agree. They should do one every week. They could just, I mean, they love the romance books, so they've got a lot of material to work from. And yeah, no, that was a fantastic performance by both of them. But Sharon definitely deserves an award of some kind. I we'll have to come up with something. I believe since we don't have anything to give them, but it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So thank you, Anthony and Sharon. Was that on Cinemax in the 80s? I don't know. It could have been. But just imagine what the neighbors across the street were thinking while the Snyders were filming that. I can only imagine. They're probably all in their windows looking at them while that was going on. But congratulations, Anthony and Sharon, on that wonderful performance. Keep them coming. Oh boy. So yeah, we're gonna just kind of move quickly, I think, through the rest of the stuff. One thing I would remind everybody, we're actually getting pretty close to 4,000 subscribers on this thing. I don't promote or think about it too often, but I think where the heck are we? I don't even know it at this point. Bottom line is, I think we're like 20 people away from getting to 4,000 subs. So if you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, please do it. It is so easy to do it. It's so easy. I'm going to remind everybody. I'm going to show you how to do it if you weren't aware, just by highlighting this thing right here. When you go to the channel, look at Mike's happy face there. There's this subscribe button right there. It's on the main page. They don't have it when you're looking at the show, so don't look for it now. At least I don't think it is. Well, maybe it is. Who knows? Let's see. Or to go here and check out the live show. Well, yeah, it is right there. Subscribe. See how I did? Well, there you go. So you click subscribe. And then if you want to get notifications turned on, you just click the bell right beside it. And there you go. Then you would actually get a notification every single time you visited. So keeping it simple. But yeah, I want to get to 4. We should be at 4. I thought we'd be at 4 by the end of the show, but we had a big push on Saturday. But Sunday, the subs just dropped off. And of course, it doesn't mean anything, but it means something at the end of the day. It's a nice round number. We all like those. So, Anthony says that Sharon and he, thank you all. They're taking a bow. They were taking a bow for you, everybody. Andy Fish wishes that he had some neighbors like the Snyders. Hey, everybody needs a Snyder residence in their neighborhood. Oh, there you go. They're working on more ideas as we speak. I know. I saw that, Daniel. That's weird. I've watched people when they show screens like that do that. Now I've done it myself once. I'll never do that again. But yeah. So there you have it. Very, very easy. I want to hit 4,000. We'll get there soon. So why don't we just go ahead and do the heritage stuff? I've already gone ahead and shown off all of the EXP things that are going on tomorrow. So you know the deal. Visit Nick on the EXP tomorrow at 7 o'clock. He has 4 giveaways this week, and they're always fun. Really easy to do. He does those hashtag things in the chat, and he and Kyle pull winners all the time. So just so you know, I'm always there. I'm usually multitasking. I never comment in the chat, but I always watch Nick's shows because he's fun, and he usually pulls out something that I wasn't expecting or tells a story that I haven't heard before. So it's always a good time to do that. So here, let me go ahead and show my heritage picks for the week, and then we can get the CAF update underway, and I can get Chris Snork in the show, and we can be talking about some art. So here we go. Highlight that. All right. So let's see. There actually was just a ton of nice art in the Heritage Weekly auction that we imported early today. So, I mean, I'm not even sure what, the prices probably aren't accurate anymore, but yeah, there was, I think, 2 or 3 pieces by Jack Abel. This one was nice. It was just a Marvel character pinup. I don't know if it was published. I didn't read the description, but I liked it. And Jack was in the, we talked about Jack Abel when we had Bob McLeod on Tuesday. So I was thinking about that. And then I saw this piece and I was like, shoot, that's pretty darn good. I mean, again, published or not, that's a keeper right there. So I think, what was the year? I don't think it had a date on it. Oh, 1980, circa 1980. So they don't know for sure. 31 headshots, but yeah, I like it. I haven't put a bid on it yet, but I probably will if it's still affordable. Then, speaking of Alpha Flight, this was from a very memorable issue. If you're a fan of John Byrne's Alpha Flight, this was from issue 3, and very nice page. I can picture it in color. I remember, it's one of those pages from issue 3 with Snowbird on it that I love. And this is like a classic, Neil Adams kind of layout, isn't it? Very nicely done. You get the character breaking the panels. You got the angled panels. It's great. Then, of course, I had Jim Shooter on Saturday, so I figured, you know what? I can't say I've seen too many pieces by Jim Shooter. This is Jim Shooter pencils and Mortimer inks, but I figured, hey, I'm going to throw it in the list because it might be one of the only times I get to promote a piece of Jim Shooter artwork, because he didn't do a lot of penciling when he was over at DC. I mean, was he even 18 at this point? I know he got started over there when he was 14 or 15 doing stuff. So yeah, so there you go. This is a page from Adventure Comics 373 by Mr. Shooter himself. And then I actually stuck with DC. I know it's a shock. I looked at a lot of DC artwork, and there was plenty of good Marvel artwork this time around, but this was a Pablo Marcos Society of Secret Villains title page on this one. But I liked it. I love the machinery, and I mean, it's a DC page, but it's pretty darn good. You got Coletta inks on it, and I don't know, it's good. Dark Side, Dark Seed. I don't know how you pronounce it, but a great page, and I love my title pages. So that is a good one. War for Earth Death doesn't sound too good for us. And then again, DC again. Ale Garza. Come on, it's Superman and Thundercats, everybody. But I love Garza's artwork, and his style is just so unique to him. And I mean, I'm not a big Superman fan, but I'm a big Thundercats fan. So, as Jason knows, so I thought this was a fun piece again, and it's a full page splash. And then I did this one for Anthony, if he's still watching. Look, Anthony, it's Sharon is on here 4 times. It's Millie the Model. It's a Stan Goldberg published pinup, and yeah, I thought it's cool. And Anthony's always talking about Stan Goldberg stuff. So here you go. This one's for Anthony. This one is just gorgeous. This one is Broderick pencils and Bruce Patterson inks, and there's actually 2 pages from Green Lantern. And again, DC again, everybody. I'm really going out of my comfort zone here. But, on this one, the inking done by Patterson is just crazy. And all this whole stuff is just great. The cross hatching, he's doing a lot of different techniques on the page, and it just makes it more beautiful because of that. I mean, I just love the fact he's going when he zooms into the eye and everything here, how the cross hatching and the detail changes. Really, really well done. And again, I think it's probably from the same book, but there is another Broderick and Patterson Green Lantern page in the auction, maybe more. I just know I saw another one too, so I picked this one. But first panel is probably the best of them all. But yeah, very nice. Then still DC again. This is an Irv Novick, Dick Dillon, what was it, Batman page, issue 220. Just really nicely done. I mean, I love I love everything about it. I mean, the mannerisms and the characters. It's for the time. When was this? 1970. So very mod, but I really like that shot right there of Batman running off into the night. I thought it was it's just a cool presentation of Batman's cape in a weird way that you've not really seen it. I mean, running away from you like that. I love the shadow on the ground. Just fun page. And I mean, did I stick with DC all the way through? I did. Oh my gosh, it's another one. This is Alex Nino, and this is from what was it? I can't even see now. Rima the Jungle Girl 4. I just thought this page was gorgeous. I want to own this page. This first panel, absolutely stunning. I love the really fine line work in here. These flying creatures going off to the horizon line, the silhouettes of some of the characters, the dramatic lighting on that first panel. Just, I mean, amazing. And then again, I don't really know what. I guess they're looking through some kind of a shield or something. I don't know. Either way, I just love the illustration going on in these two center panels. And then again, it comes back with this really huge landscape image again, and really well done. I mean, so this is a great page, and it's so good. Again, I should put a bid on it. And finally, okay, at least I'm going back. Okay, I couldn't not have a primo Marvel page in here. This one, and this goes back to the Tuesday conversation with Bob McLeod. This is a John Buscema and Krusty Bunkers page, right? This has got inking done by McLeod, Rubenstein, and Neil Adams on it. On John Buscema pencils, probably breakdowns, right? I mean, more than likely that's the way Bob described it when he was working on these particular books. You can see Neil's inking definitely in the face of Kazar right there. So that I think that's what makes this page really interesting. And as a collector, I mean, I'd love to own one of these pages where that was inked by Krusty Bunkers, especially when that Neil touched it too, when you can see at least in the face there. And I thought maybe I didn't think in that one but he probably did a couple others. Who knows? Bottom line is, it's an interesting page. And again, having just talked to Bob about all of the process stuff that was going on over at Continuity Studios when they would all just start inking bits and pieces on stuff, I thought this was a fun page to feature. So the crust is the best part of the sandwich, says Rick Welch. And Marcus let us know that Rima was only 7 issues. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a sweet page. I mean, it really, really was. The more I looked at it, the more I definitely should put some bids on that one. I'm going to put a couple bids on this piece too. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop that screen. So there you have it. That was those are the heritage picks. So let's just keep this thing rolling, and we'll roll right into the CAF update. So let me it's a weird week because dealers had been on a roll, right? They were doing $900,000 in sales. What was it the last week? They were at the week before last, dealers were at 649,000 in sales. This week, 148,000 in recorded sales. I don't know what the dealers were doing. I mean, I know Albert was on a little vacation down south. Mike was maybe watching too much football. I have no idea. Maybe they were they weren't all set up at Comic Art Live, so there's no excuse for it. But going from 649 to 148, I don't think we've had a week the whole year where they were underneath like 280. So to drop $500,000 in sales is insane. So top seller, yeah. And Anthony's in the audience. Maybe he could tell me what he was doing last weekend, because he wasn't selling a lot of stuff on his site. But so top sellers for the weekend, of course, this is November 7th through the 13th. panel page, of course, Mr. Glenn Brunswick sold $41,000. Anthony came in second, but of course, first in volume, 102 sales, almost $32,000. And then we got Ramita Man, 17 sales, $25,000. Felix, 32 sales, $23,000. And Scott Eder, the only other person over 10,000 in sales, 4 sales, $11,000 last week. So let me show you the top 6 sales from dealers last week. And I know we've seen this page around. This page is from Jungle Action 17. Of course, you get the Black Panther on there. It's art by Billy Graham. This one sold by Glenn for the asking price of $35,000. This next one, I mean, it's can I read the title? It's sold by Scott Eder. Price was $6,500 by Al Columbia. The title of this one, Pim and Francie, Funny Incest Stories, large complete page. All right. Next up, a Ramita Man sale for $6,000 by Joe Sinnott. This is Adventures in the Weird Worlds, number 5, page 1 splash. Mike claims that it was the earliest known Joe Sinnott Marvel artwork from 1951. Then you got this other sale by Mike. This is Michael Golden, $4,500 on this one. This was the cover to Adventures of Superman 1989. Sold on Dueling Dealers, by the way. Then we've got a Jaime Hernandez, Love and Rockets, Maggie and Rand, issue 8, page 4. This one sold for $4,000 by Scott. And finally, you have a Jeff Shaw. And this was just the first page to issue 30 of New Mutants, sold for $4,000. So there you go. Those are the top 6. So $4,000. I mean, there you go. There was just not hardly any big sales, right? I mean, what did we have? One sale over $10,000. How does that happen? I mean, typically we've got at least 4. So yeah, I don't know what was going on. Was everybody just in a lull after the LA show? Because wasn't the LA show the Sunday before Comic Art Live? I mean, so you can even add that. All the other things that we talked about, all the other shows that we talked about going on. Bashara had the LA show in the Sunday beforehand. So we'll see. I think dealers during Comic Art Live sold about $290,000. I don't know what the breakdown is dealer to dealer, of course, but I would assume those sales will probably trickle in this week into their sales for next week. So maybe they'll have a rebound, but 148,000 was all they did last week. So they're eating ramen too, Alberto. I think that's what that tells us. We can look at the auction houses. They had a pretty bad week as well. They didn't they didn't hit 300,000 combining both eBay and Heritage. Now the week before, 321,000, that would have been a down week, but this past week, $282,000. I mean, combined, they didn't even hit did they hit 400? I guess they barely went over 400,000 between auction houses and dealers that week. Pitiful, absolutely pitiful. I don't know what to say about that, but again, I still don't know what to say about that. But Comic Art Live maybe plays a factor, right? I mean, Comic Art Live did reach 1 million finally in total sales, so I was happy to finally cross that barrier. But let's talk about eBay first. eBay, of that 282, they made up 176,000 of it, which is pretty much their normal. Let's go take a look at the top 3 eBay and then the top 3 Heritage. So first up from eBay, the top selling item was a Ron Lim Silver Surfer page from issue 63, sold for $3,150. So not fantastic as the top seller, but that's kind of where we're at this whole week from everybody. And then we've got a Don Newton, Alfredo Alcala Batman 357 page. This one sold for $2,999.99. And then finally, this one was actually one with a make offer. This is by Angel Medina. This is from Spawn 101, page 7 splash. The price recorded was $2,800, but it was one with a $2,300 offer to the seller. Then we got our 3 from Heritage. First up is this Pat Olaf, Al Williamson Spider-Girl cover to issue 31, sold for $3,600. Then a piece that we featured last week by Michael Golden and P. Craig Russell. This was from Batman Family, issue 18, sold for $3,360. And finally, a Tom Sutton Vampire Tales page from issue 4. This one went for $3,240 on it. It's Morbius, everybody. A frightening Morbius at that, but that's a nice page. I don't know how did I not feature that page last week? I mean, I could see skipping the Ron Lim because we see a lot of cosmic pages out there, but I don't know why I didn't pick the Tom Sutton. I must not have been looking close enough. All right. Marcus says his FTX fell, so he had, maybe that was why he wasn't buying as much. But yeah, very good, very very interesting week. But yeah, isn't that curious? I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's people pulling back or people paying less, but auctions are what they are. I mean, it'll be curious to see how the year kind of winds out, right? As far as the weekly eBays and the weekly heritage auctions, just to kind of see, where those sales are at. I mean, I think that with regards to eBay, I think once the sellers find out that they're getting 1099 by eBay, regardless of their sales volume, I think that we're going to find a big mass exodus from eBay beginning at the start of 2023. So maybe this is a precursor to that. It is interesting to not see too many high dollar items being sold on eBay, but I think when that happens, maybe eBay won't be as relevant as they've been for us in the past. For me, the sales volume that we drive to eBay has remained fairly consistent, usually around a couple 100,000 every month. But I can tell you that this month has started off where, I'm not even sure where we're at right now, but we're almost halfway through the month, and I bet I'd be surprised if I'm at 50,000 in sales for eBay. So that's telling that there's some kind of shift going on in November. But we'll have to wait till the end of the year to see if it's a real trend or not. But thank you on the congrats on the 1 million. Yeah, it was hard earned this time around. It was easy the other times. We closed the show at 1 million. This one we had to kind of wait till all the sales trickled in. Ron Lim says never skip him. Ron, if you were drawing that artwork, I would not skip that artwork. I promise you that. All right. Well, guess what? My buddy Chris Snork is in the green room, and he is raring to go. I can tell. How's it going, Chris?
Good, man. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. I'm still kind of on a bit of a jag, still from the weekend. I had to take a nap for an hour today. I missed the first part of the heritage auction. I slept through it. I was so tired. I wanted to see how things were going to wind up, and I had to go back and just go browse through the sold items to see where the Calvin and Hobbes ended up. And everything.
Yep.
So I'm very disappointed in myself about that, but I don't know. What are you going to do? Outside of that, I think I'm almost there. I'm almost caught up with my emails, and so I feel like by tomorrow I'll have a sense of accomplishment. But
you're still basking in the afterglow of Comic Art Live.
I am. It was, I definitely need that helper on the panels. I can't run. I can't do it anymore. Running. I didn't have to do as many interviews, but I had to kind of be there, on a lot of them. I had Ken Carson help a bit, which was nice, but yeah, I gotta work that out for the next one. Talk to maybe pay Gwen some money and just say and she actually ran one of the panels because when we did the Scott Doonbeer Kevin Nolan panel, he ran that thing 2 hours. So and I had to moderate a panel at 4. So I had to text Gwen like 10 minutes before. I'm like, you got to come in here. You're going to have to because we were showing PDF images, right? And I had coach her. I'm like, you got to, whenever Scott says next or whatever, you just go to the next page. So she had to basically run that while I did an interview.
With aplomb. Nice job.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You almost need there's almost like a producer role to be had.
Right. Exactly. That's the problem. I mean, I end up being it, but yeah, I don't want to be it. I didn't get to shop. I didn't get to save. I really did not shop during this show. And it was probably the first show where I didn't, I saved 3 items. And I think they were all more saved as tests just to make sure I'd gotten things right. But yeah, we got something needs to be worked out there. Maureen did more shopping than I did. and she bought more too. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, anyway. Did you pick up anything this weekend, or
no? I didn't. I made a really questionable purchase a couple weeks ago, as you know, that
Yes.
got featured by Larry. And I acknowledge that I dramatically overpaid for that piece, and so I'm underpaying for other things for the rest of the year. How about that?
Well, that's probably a wise thing to do. I get it. I get it.
There's in all things there's a balance.
Right. Well, that's you've got a lot of wisdom there, Chris.
I try.
I picked up Maureen picked up a couple pieces for me. I had looked at the only people's booth who I did look at because I'd said I was going to buy something from them was Andy and Veronica. Their booth. We had them on the Tuesday before Comic Art Live. So what I had done, I scoped everything out. I'm sorry, before the show opened, and I sent Maureen a list. I said, when you have some time this morning, here's artwork that is in their booth that I like. Surprise me, And so that so I figured that was. If she likes it too and buys it, then it's good, right? I mean, they're all great pieces, but she went through and she's like, yeah, I picked up 2, and then and we had set a piece, one thing aside that we were gonna, if it was still there on Sunday, we were gonna buy, and it did sell, so we ended up not getting it, but that's okay. So it was, but for us, it was fun. It was definitely a good experience by and large. I think. Maureen was happy that the things that she changed didn't break too much, and we had a few bugs to fix, but it is what it is. But did you look around? Did you at least check to see if there was anything, Art?
I did, yeah, and there were some painful things that I probably wished or wanted to come away with, but didn't. Yeah, I did a booth for the first time though, so that was fun. That was interesting. And I entitled my booth "Things I'd Rather Not Sell" because I'm a person who I try hard to get things, and then when I get things, I just don't want to get rid of them. So there were a few things that, again, as a result of that significant purchase I made a couple of weeks ago, I felt like maybe I should move a couple things, but not, unfortunately nothing sold. I had some interest, but nothing happened. So we'll see.
Offers, I assume.
I did. Yeah. Well, I didn't get offers. I got some questions and things like that, and came back to some people, but we'll see. I mean, it's not done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what Nick said. And that's what I talked with Ken Carson today. I was like, hey, can you get me the final figures from the shows? And he's like, I'm still negotiating a couple of deals. So he's like, maybe by this weekend I'll have a final figure for you. So I'm like, hey, take your time. Cool. If you're still making sales, that's all that matters to me.
Absolutely.
Keep coming.
Even if it's just leads, right? I mean, even if it is nothing that turns into something later, I think that's
right.
Perfectly viable.
Right. I mean, that was the one thing that we saw. I can't remember if it was in the Greg Land panel or the Doug Mankey panel, where the people in the audience were like, well, do you have this or do you have that? Can you find out if he has that? Because the artists weren't in either of those panels part of the panel. So I think that that's probably a little bit of what was going on. And that's what happens, right? You get that opportunity to talk to an artist, and then, you're like, you're going to make all these side inquiries to see if you can fish anything else out. So
totally. Yep. I've done it at shows. I mean, why is Comic Art Live any different? Right.
Right. Exactly. Grab the opportunity while it's there. I'll see. Robert Berman said he bought 3 pages and then made a deal with one of the sellers for 5 more. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, Dr. Berman.
That is good. Well, hey, let's take a look at our picks this week. It was a pretty decent week for art going on to CAF too. I think
a lot for sale.
Yes. Boy, yep. Now that you mentioned that, I hope I didn't pick any pieces for sale. Well, we'll find out. If we did, this would be the week when we can be forgiven for doing something like
Comic Art Live Plus.
Exactly. A little extra. Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of people always tell me they sell stuff in their classifieds during Comic Art Live. So, I mean, there's probably a lot of untracked sales going on that I don't get to see. So let's see here. Get that. All right. So what do we got here? First up is an Alfredo Alcala, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. 2 pages, 7 and 8.
Yeah, so this is from those little mini comics that came packed in with Masters of the Universe figures. So this is a big nostalgia pick for me. These hit when I was in that prime, early 80s, playing with toys kind of era, 2nd, 3rd grade type of thing. and also just getting interested in comics at the same time. So this is a sweet spot for me. So basically just fond memories. I mean, Alfredo Alcala, I think we mostly know him as a Swamp Thing artist, but he put in a lot of miles on these Mattel Masters of the Universe mini comics. He did a lot of promotional art for them as well. A ton of great artists did, like Earl Norham and a bunch of other really good painters did packaging art for them too. So yeah, again, just Bruce Timm for sure. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini both worked on the cartoon for Filmation too. So there's a lot of comic book credibility rolled up in He-Man.
Yeah, definitely. I know Berkey has a couple of the Bruce Timm pages too, and they're smaller too. I want to say they're like 10 by 14, somewhere around in there, but really nicely done. And I remember because a lot of merchandise used gimmicks like the smaller comics, and there was this page on Anthony's site. It's back to one of those things where I looked at it had to have been a year and a half. Kept thinking I'd buy it one day. It was a George Perez from a game. I can't even remember what game it was. It was some terrible like Atari game or something like that.
Okay.
And, it was like a sword swashbuckling thing. So anybody that would have seen this thing would have not known what it was from if they weren't playing, Atari back in the mid 80s, right? Or early 80s. And it was pencils only. And I kept going back to that thing. And then one day it was gone. But it was the same kind of thing, mini comic, right? It was a mini comic in with the game cartridge.
Chuck Arnold says Sword Quest.
Sword Quest. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you guys. See, okay, well, you guys are playing the same game I was. But yeah, Anthony had a page, a pencil only page on his site for at least a year and a half that I kept thinking, one of these days I'm just going to buy that. Then it was gone. So, and that was recently too. I mean, it was probably right. I bet you it probably went after he passed, but yeah, I'll kick myself for a while for not picking that up.
We all have those.
Yep. And then Ghost Rider here. This is a very nice page. Let me get the like on this one. This is in Ted Lantner's collection. Carmen Infantino pencils on this one.
Yeah, love Infantino, as you know. And then, what's cool about this to me is not only is it just a killer Ghost Rider page. I mean, this has Ghost Rider doing everything you would basically want Ghost Rider to be doing. But also the fact that it's Infantino is so cool to me. I generally think of him as a Flash artist, as a DC artist. A lot of people associate him with Star Wars. So I'm not sure how long his Ghost Rider run was, or, if he even had a run per se. But this is just a really, from a sequential perspective, this is just a really, really well thought out, well illustrated page. You can clearly follow the action. So as far as Infantino is concerned, this is great stuff.
Yeah, no, I really like this page as well. See, for me, Infantino's the Spider-Woman artist because
sure
all I had read him from. But no, I love it. I love the angles on this piece a lot, especially that the first panel is great. Storytelling, in the middle panels is good. It reminds me, I almost picked a John Romita Jr. page. I think it was inked by Al Williamson, with a car where Daredevil was on top of the car. I don't know if you saw that one. It's funny. I should have picked it now that I'm thinking about it, because it was the similar kind of action going on it. Boy, it makes me want to pull it up and show it off because it's so similar to this page. It was like
this is that 70s, late 70s, early 80s, TJ Hooker's clinging to the hood of the car. Yeah, and that last panel, the bottom panel across the bottom, just made me think of a 70s TV movie or 80s TV movie.
Oh, yep, exactly. And come on, I'm gonna go show it. Can I get it? Do you mind?
Yeah. No, go for it.
I'm gonna show that off. It's so funny how similar they are. Well,
it clearly made an impact on you. So
it did. Hopefully, it has the same. Here it is, right here. So it's I like this. I mean, I love the top panel. I love the kind of perspective, the way he's doing the lighting on it, and everything with the character. Lines. And then look, second panel, she realizes he's up there because she sees the shadow. Yeah. And then I thought, then the thing that was the selling point to me was the bottom two panels. I mean, you would never see anybody draw the same character in opposite poses like
mirrored.
That. Mm-hmm. It is so weird, but I loved the step through on this thing, the way they did it. The way he put it together, and then the two Daredevils at the bottom, just so bizarre. I mean,
it is odd.
I want this page because it's so weird. I mean, but well done. And again, a car chase, and yeah. All right. Well, okay. So they weren't very similar, everybody. I get it, but
similar
there's
content.
Yes, a car and a hero,
Yeah.
or an anti-hero. Now this one here, I don't know how I didn't see it. This should have been the freaking
This
show
is
thumbnail.
spectacular.
You know, I mean, only Cap would jump out of a plane without a parachute.
Hey,
But
he says they're for
thing-
girls.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, but look at this. This is so incredible. You know what? And that the orange tone, he's diving into the flames, baby.
Mhm.
And this is with the cold night
The
sky.
moonlight. Yeah, exactly.
This is one of, like, we ranked that Sienkiewicz piece as one of the best covers or pieces that we've seen. This ranks right up there.
I absolutely
unbelievable.
agree with you.
I was dumbfounded when I don't know how I didn't see this one.
This is on par with like really anybody who's painting covers anywhere, in my opinion. And I would go so far as to say in the last 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, this is up there. This is an amazing image of Captain America.
Yes. And he may have lost his left leg, Rich, but
He lost it in the war, Rich.
It doesn't matter. The imagery is too damn good.
Yeah.
So, and this is 2017. So you think about that. It's not even
right. He's progressed.
This is, I mean, I love this piece. So, and who's Kafka? I didn't even bother. I like the artwork so much. I didn't bother to see who it was. Luke Gilmont. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever been in their Calf gallery. Oh, look, you got the one and only comment on this piece.
That's Dino.
Dino's got it. Shoot,
Ironically, Dino's avatar is the thing, and I don't know why that is.
Every time I see that, I think of you. Doggone it, Dino. All right, this one is Star Spangled Awesome. Here. Amen. Somebody else better leave a comment on this thing tonight, everybody.
Yeah, Alberto.
Right.
We love Captain America. Get over
here. I'm going to put a link right in the chat. Everybody who cares about this piece should go over to CAF right now and leave a comment on it, because one comment is certainly not.
That's activism in action.
That's right. Luke deserves more comments on this artwork. So, but yeah, this one, if they enter it in, and is it, maybe it's not even a cover, it's a commission. Okay, so there you go. I hope they enter this in the commission category, because it could certainly win.
It'll place. It
will place at very least. All right, so Michael Diaz here. This one, let's see. We've got it's Keith Giffen, and Nebris Inks throws me off on this one, but
same. That's actually why I picked it.
Okay.
So what I thought was so cool about this is the like incredible impact of Nebris on Giffen here, because Giffen is a little bit of a, particularly in this era, is a little bit of a chameleon. He can kind of do whatever you need him to do from a penciling perspective. So Jack of Hearts is one of those weird characters where I remember as a kid, like looking at Jack of Hearts in official handbook of the Marvel Universe and being like, wow, this guy's cool. Like, what's he about? And then wanting to know more about him. And so I guess it's got a soft spot for me for that, from that perspective. But yeah, the main thing here was how like lively and detailed and like, I don't know, almost non-Giffen-esque these inks are, and like how it transformed what I guess what I can kind of envision Giffen's pencils being on this.
Right. Well, that was the thing for me too. I didn't see Giffen at all when I looked at this, but it's okay. I mean, Nebris does such a fantastic job on this. Man,
and I love Giffen. That's no slight.
I do too. No, without question. I love Giffen's work. I've never owned anything, but I wish I had. But yeah, that was my takeaway from this as well, like I mentioned. But I think it's pretty well done. I mean, this is a character that I would think most people hate to draw, right? Oh God, I got the Jack of Hearts job. I'm gonna leave it for the inker. I'll just kind of put the shapes in there and let them figure it out. But
really cool and atmospheric too. I mean, outside of Jack of Hearts being on this, in these panels, I mean, it's basically all like smoke and shadow and that kind of stuff, and like just so effectively done.
Yeah. Nope. I love it. Yeah. I mean, it's very well done. I mean, look at the twirling lines in here, the way he's like doing these pen lines. I mean, it's very nice. I love it. Nice pick. And Michael Diaz, a nice addition to his CAF gallery. All effects to minimize backgrounds. All right, Marcus.
Totally true. But also, it does add atmosphere.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, look at that fourth panel. That one right there. That is. I mean, they're all great. Wow. Very interesting. Makes me actually want to go read the book now. So this one, Raj Patel's gallery, made me laugh when I saw it.
Same.
John Paul Leon, of course, and you got a Constantine cover here. Take it away, Chris.
This is so for me. This is something that you would only ever see as a comic book cover, right? I mean, this isn't something that's going to be a movie poster or on the front of a paperback book or anything like that. Like, this is a comic book cover, like dyed in the wool. And what's crazy is, like, you see all the fish first, right? And you're like, what actually is this? And it takes you a second to realize, like, one, what's happening, but two, that's Constantine's head in there, with the cigarette hanging out of it. And then you realize, oh, there's a guy at the fish counter with his ticket. But I mean, just funny, so well illustrated. JPL is a master, as we all know. So yeah, just cool composition, cool idea for a cover. I kind of hope that JPL like came up with this on his own. This wasn't like editorial or anything, but just awesome.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I saw the head. I could not see the head, from the moment I saw this thing. But yeah, just fantastic piece. We don't have enough JPL artwork on the site, so it's just really nice to have this on here. It's from 2020, so probably one of the last things he might have worked on. Just absolutely lovely, and everything you like about his work, where he's putting in details and spots, and other parts he's leaving it, like in the ice or whatnot. I mean, I just like the whole flow of that. The shrimp. I mean, it's just the illustration is just really wonderful. Yeah,
it's almost. I mean, considering like how that this would, like, in real life, how it would be lit. It's like really effectively rendered. Like, he puts detail, like you said, where you want detail. And then like the stuff that's happening like outside the fish case, like, doesn't matter so much. So he just kind of suggests it.
Oh, see, Raj said he was looking at Albert's site for a while before he finally pulled the trigger. See, that'll get you. That will get you, when you just...
At least you got it. You didn't miss it.
Usually it doesn't work out. But no, fantastic one. Congrats, Raj. That's a really great pickup. And Jason Wood's piece is on the next one here. This was Tom Fowler. Now, okay, we'll get a like on that one too.
I just love Tom Fowler, man. I mean, if you commission Tom Fowler, and the commissioner kind of said this too, but if you commission Tom Fowler, like, you're in for a ride, because Lord knows what he's going to do. Like, if you give him, like the loosest, barest suggestion, he's just going to run away with it, which I think is so awesome. Like, Beast, obviously was the request. So he's, kind of the featured element, but like Beast and Wonder Man and their thrashing Doombots. I mean,
right.
This is like such a cool concept for, like, this could totally be a cover of like a Beast limited series or something like that. You could totally see that. And like, judging by this, like, Fowler would knock it out of the park, right? And I just love how fun and fluid the whole thing is. Like, everything is moving in this composition. Like, everything has some, it just kind of vibrates. The whole thing is just like going somewhere.
Right. You get so many directional elements going on here, with things going in different directions. I mean, even just with his figure, right? His feet are coming at you. He's just ripped.
He's swiping his hand back. He's got a head in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really masterful. I really like it. And I loved it from the, as soon as I saw the thumbnail when you had set your set. So this was a good one.
And Fowler is such an effective, I mean, one, he's a great illustrator, but two, he's a great cartoonist. There's just really awesome cartooning in this.
Marcus says, "Oh, my stars and garters." Yes, Marcus. Yeah, Marcus thinks he's retired now that we hit 1.2 million comments over on CAF the other night on Sunday night. Everybody rallied to get us there when I happened to look at the forums and see that we were a few. We were like 40 comments away from 1.2 million. So he's
done his part.
That's what he said. He's done his job. All right, next piece here. So kind of keeping Avengers in here, but this is a let me go with this. It's Carlos Pacheco,
Yep.
of course, and very nice pick.
So some great Pacheco artwork was featured for obviously for a good reason. I don't know if anybody in the audience follows James Heron on Instagram, but James Heron did this epic sort of like, I don't know, retrospective almost of Pacheco's figure drawing last week on Instagram when kind of everything had come out. And this just like perfectly encapsulated like what Pacheco in my mind does best, which is figure drawing. I mean, this is not an odd pose necessarily, but it's a hard pose to make interesting. And he does that very effectively. The hands are so well illustrated. He's clenching arrow, he's got arrows gripped in his mouth, which I think is such a cool choice and so like characterful. But I love how the composition is balanced. I love how the bow, goes outside of the panel borders. There's just nothing not to like about this. And as far as Carlos Pacheco is concerned, Chuck Arnold said it best. It's very Pacheco.
Yeah, and it is gorgeous. I mean, it's like a photograph. He's just done such a masterful job of it. And I like the fact that the bow is off the page as well. Just kind of adds a dynamic to it, the way it's drawn like that. So, no.
Well, and visually it makes that, it makes that angle that points up, points down out towards the reader, but the string also points up towards the figure's face.
True. And I did not see the Instagram post. You said James Heron?
Yeah, James Heron, which I kind of surprised me a little bit. I mean, I guess for whatever reason, I wouldn't have pegged Heron as a huge Pacheco fan. So I thought that was even cooler. The fact that he just he really went off. I mean, he was like, there's this and there's this and there's this. And he's like calling out individual elements of compositions and things like that. I just thought it was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will check it out. And Bo Roberts calf. Very congrats, Bo. All right. So next one, this is Metal Chris. I can't say I've been in Metal Chris's calf gallery before.
And it's Metal Psylocke.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Okay. Is that a theme in Metal Chris's calf gallery?
You know what? I unfortunately I didn't delve any further to find out, but it would be cool if it were, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna save this tab after we're done here. But there's so many things to like about this piece, of course. But
right.
What are yours?
It's Daniel Warren Johnson, first of all, so it's going to be good. But what I think is so cool about this is I'm guessing by the request that the guy who requested, so Metal Chris knows that Daniel Warren Johnson is a huge metalhead and knew that he would get more bang for his buck by making this particularly cool request. And I think if you one of the alternate photos is actually zoomed in on her vest. And her vest with all of the band patches on it is so cool. Chemist and Death and Sleep and Black Sabbath and tons of killer metal bands that I know DWJ is a big fan of. So yeah, I just thought this was such a cool request and then so well executed.
I've never heard of Chemist.
Well, Bill, I can't say that you'll love them, but check them out. Check them out.
Okay. All right. No, I love this piece. I'm going to save that tab. I want to see if everything in, again, Metal Chris, member since August 2019. So still actively posting after 3 years. I'll see if everything's metal oriented there. All right. So this one, Adam Law made this wonderful pickup. And it's 2 pages from Terminator Endgame, issue 1, pages 3 and 4 from 1992. I'm just gonna say before Chris, I know it's your pick, but I see something like this and I'm thinking, I might not ever afford or be able to get a Blade Runner, but maybe I can get a Terminator. Maybe I can get something.
This is a Blade Runner 2-page spread. Is it? Is it not?
Isn't it? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's the shades.
Yeah, It really is.
It's the blinds that does it for
It's
sure.
so well done, though. I mean,
Yeah.
the lighting, all the whole lighting on this. I love Geist's stuff no matter what. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's all. That'd be as close as I'm going to get because I'll never be able to own
Yeah,
a
this
page.
could be a Voight Conf test.
Yes,
on the left,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, totally. So I picked this because I have never seen, at least to my knowledge, Beatty inking Geist.
Mm-hmm.
So it was such a cool combo to me, and I just love like that Venetian blind element that's all over these 2 pages. I think is so cool and is such an awesome framing device. Yeah, this just really jumped out at me. I had to pick it.
Yeah, no, I saw this one too, and it would have probably been one of my picks. But yeah, and it's something I don't really get. I don't look at too many film adaptation books. I mean, other than the Blade Runner, I mean, Blade Runner was always like such a classic, but I don't think I ever looked at any Terminator book at all, and hardly even any Alien books either.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I really loved maybe a couple months ago. Somebody posted a Chris Warner page from Terminator. So that like really early, like first limited series from Dark Horse. And I think I picked that, but like that was really underrated stuff too. Chris Warner was like banging it on that book.
I'll have to, yeah, no. Well, wonderful pickup, Adam. This is, look at that. Even that last panel on the first page, that right there, that's amazing. I love this. I love it. I mean, they get the shadow on the back of his jacket.
Right. I think you're right. Think about drawing it.
Oh,
right?
I love this page. Yeah, they're both amazing. Son of a gun. And this is the second person with a cigarette in their mouth that we've looked at too today. Before it was Constantine, I think was first. I don't know why there's something going on there.
You need a smoke.
I probably do. I used to smoke a long time ago. Everybody. Yeah, I did. I was a bad kid, but I haven't.
I smoke cigars, and if anybody can get Nick Catratis to do an interview with Bill, Nick, and I know he watches this show because he ran up to me at Heroes and was like, "Chris, you're from the update," and blah blah blah, and I was like, "Okay, yeah." And if anybody can get Nick on this show, I will give Nick an amazing cigar the next time I see him. That's my commitment to Nick.
Well, maybe Rob, we might get lucky. You never know. Because I strike out every time I ask him. Even the last time when I saw him in Heroes, I said, "You ever going to do it?" And he's like, "Oh, Bill, I'll drop F-bombs and everybody's going to get mad. And then I'm going to say something I shouldn't." And like, it's okay. That's why
people watch.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll see. And this would have been my pick. A pick as for me as well. I almost made this one the show graphic, and then the only reason I didn't was because everything's so at the top, right? I was like, I can't crop that into an image that I want to use, and then you picked it, so that took the pick away from me. But well deserved. This was a great piece in Felix's collection.
It is an interesting composition from that perspective, right? It's almost got the like. You could tell yourself that like the duality of the character is built into the composition on some level, right? Like if you wanted to like really dig in and analyze it. Now, did he do that on purpose? I don't know. Like, but it's
he's
fun
smoking. Chris,
he is.
This is 3P. Maybe you're the one who's thinking about smoking.
I'll be right back. No. Yeah, that's weird.
That is really weird. My goodness. Okay. And you were trying to say it was me that needed to have a smoke. But anyways.
I was projecting. So yeah, I picked this because Mr. O'Neill left us last week, and this is not to take away anything from this illustration because it's amazing, and I think the majority of U.S. comic readers certainly know him from this book. From League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so it's a good way to highlight his contributions in that respect. But also cool that this is Felix's. Felix owns this piece, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking Felix either. I figured, this has got to be a Melchior piece he's got stashed around that he decided to pull out, and no, it was Felix.
I think Marcus. I think that is Jekyll in the frame over his shoulder, which is a clever element for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a gorgeous piece. and again, it would have been mine had you not picked it. So that's good. We were very in line on a lot of the picks this week.
Cool.
But yeah, on this one, and again, Felix always has small scans. He does that on his site too. I think it's probably just kind of built into his DNA to not have large scans out there so people could pilfer them, I guess. Yeah. He's a premium member. It's not for lack of that. And his site, everybody just, it would allow for 2,000 pixel tall pieces at least, and he still scans them at like 1,000 tall.
And watermarked.
And watermarked, right. So yeah, but I would love to see the details in the hand in front,
definitely.
Is because just looking at it, it looks like there's such fine detail in there. I mean, it's so well done. I mean, this is such a gorgeous piece. So, but yeah, I feel like I just had a smoke. Looking at your art, how'd you do that?
I didn't do it on purpose, but now I feel like I may have subconsciously done it on purpose.
Something going on there. Yeah. All right, let's. Where the heck did I put my tabs at? Oh, here we go. All right, so let me get mine shared. I don't think anybody's smoking in my artwork. Everybody, I'm just, but now I'm going to be curious if this is like a Mike and Anthony moment where they both bring the same artist for the same round or something. If I've got people smoking, well, Human Torch, he's on fire here. But this is, I was laughing at this one when I saw it. It's just with the Black Panther movie out now and everything. And
I don't think it's up.
What's that?
I don't think the image is
up. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it. Doggone it. I'm admiring it without sharing it to everybody. Okay, now we can look at Marcus's art.
Here we go.
Sorry. But the thing, he should have a cigar in his mouth in this one.
Right?
But you know what? I mean, okay, so with the Black Panther movie, like I was saying, thinking of Subby, I was just looking at a lot of Black Panther and Submariner artwork this week. And I'm sure that's, Marcus kind of times his art releases on the site, I think, based on whatever the mood strikes him. But sure. I thought this piece was very timely, and I think I even started reading through the comments. But Sue Storm's probably not really upset that Subby's running off with her, and
that's an element.
I'm not even going to go look. But bottom line, I just love this one. It's Buckler, so for me, he's all about this time period for Marvel Comics, in the 80s, and I liked him trying to do the Thing in his old style. Just a fun all around cover. But yeah, I just kept thinking she's not really that upset. She's kind of happy that she's that Subby's running off with her like that.
Yeah, it's faux horror.
Right.
No, don't.
Yes, exactly. Atlantis needs women, says Robert Berman. Oh man, but yeah, this is a good one. Marcus, whatever he drops is always, it's very it's very worthy of being
momentous.
Yes. Definitely. And see, Bob McLeod inks. I didn't even realize. Okay, Bob McLeod inks on that one, even better. Bob's in so much, isn't he? I mean, when you browse around Cap, Bob has had one hell of a career.
Definitely.
Were you in the conversation with my interview with him when he popped?
I watched it after the fact. I watched it on Monday.
Yeah, he is. He's so much fun. Let's see here. And remember how he was talking about doing, he still does he does some distance learning and teaching with kids. My daughter's going to do some stuff with him. Awesome. I was like, hang on, you got to wait, don't sign off yet, I want to talk to you about this, because literally like it was like the day before Maureen was like, we need to get Emma some instruction, you need to figure out who, and I remember who was it, I think Mark Nelson in one of the panels, maybe the May panel, had talked about that he was doing something like that. So I sent an email inquiry out to him, didn't hear back. But then when Bob said it, I was like, oh, that's it. I want Bob to get some money from me. It isn't about art, but it's about educating my child. So
I did some stuff with Nelson back in the day when I was in art school, and
really
incredibly valuable. Yeah.
See, I might even still reach. I mean, I reached out to him. I reached out to him through the guy who interviewed him, Mark. I always forget Mark's name. I don't know why the heck I forget his last name all the time. But you know the guy I'm talking about. He's done many interviews. He's helped me win the Apollo panels. It's going to come to me in a few minutes, and I'll hate myself. But no, I would love to, because Mark Nelson, I mean, he's written books on world building, and he's such a great illustrator.
Amazing inker. Wow. Yeah. What an amazing inker.
So there you go. Maybe Emma can get taught by both of them. Now that would be good.
Cool.
All right. So Mr. Fish, I believe, is next here with this What If 32 cover by Bob Layton and Joe Rubenstein. Just a fun piece. It's kind of like the Able piece I picked from Heritage, right? Just lots of heads. But I mean, that's what I just love, covers like this. It gives you, it makes you think, and this one was nice. All the What If covers were always fun and the stories were fun, but this is just a nice piece of art. And I love you get the big three Avengers on it, a gaggle of villains behind them. I mean, it's just a really nice Marvel cover. For
the conglomeration of faces has become a trope for a reason, right? Like, it's really effective, and like, even if you see one or two characters in there that you like, you're like, oh, I gotta pick this up. And
exactly. I didn't even see Wonder Man's in there. Right. Wonder Man's in there too. I mean, I didn't even see him.
That's a Wonder Man sweep.
That is. That's the first too. Is anyone smoking in here? No. No, not at the moment anyway. But yeah, this is a great one. I mean, doggone it, Fish, your cosmic collection just continues to impress, my friend. This is
this was a personal pickup for him. It sounds like too, like a touchstone. So that was cool to read.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to read the description, but yeah, this is a good one. This is a keeper. I love it.
Very cool.
All right, there we go. I know I should leave a comment. Everybody, I've gotten emails. Bill, you need to comment on pieces. Don't just hit the like.
Don't just like them, and don't just feature them, and don't talk about them on the update. Comment on them as well. Exactly.
So up next, the P. Craig Russell piece, and and even noted the letter Klein Todd. So this is
Todd Klein.
Or Todd Klein. Yeah, that's weird. Why would they go backwards like that? Just like Chris mentions, needs no write-up. Sandman 50, just a gorgeous work of art. I mean, I love the fact that this is just such a light piece, right? I mean, it's so fitting of the style and the mood of the book. The lettering is just fantastic. I love the simple lines in the first and the last panel, and there's just enough detail in that central. I mean, it's hard to even call it a panel because it's like panels within panels for the story, but it's just beautiful. I mean, I loved everything about this piece the moment I saw it.
Yeah, it's kind of that inset almost. Yeah, fun fact, this is the only Sandman comic I own.
Really?
Yeah, I just bought it because I love P. Craig Russell.
He is amazing. I mean, even the stuff that he's putting out today, I'm just very impressed by. I mean, he's somebody who I don't know, I think, well, clearly a lot, we all love him, but I feel like he never had too many big home runs in his career, but everything he did was just fantastic.
Yeah, and also definitely an artist's artist.
Yes. Yeah, I remember back to doing that interview with the guy who owned the Comic Arts Gallery in New York. I mean, and seeing young pictures. I mean, where Russell looks like he's 18 years old, looking at Bernie Wrightson artwork on the walls. I mean, how cool is that?
Right.
But yeah, he's an amazing talent, and his style is just unique to him.
Well, I think he's also, made choices about the projects that he's worked on that have not necessarily painted him in a corner, but characterized him, right? Like, this is the type of work that P. Craig Russell is interested in or wants to do or does, right? Mm-hmm. So you get Ring of the Nibelung and this and Elric, and I mean, you get those kind of fantasy or epic fantasy, those kinds of things. And I don't necessarily know that that's by choice or if he's been kind of typecast or whatever, but I mean, he does it so well, you can't argue with it.
Quite true. Yeah, very true. And Chuck mentions Andy's a great inker as well. That's true. He did ink several people throughout his career and did a fantastic job. Let's see. I'm still putting a like on that one, everybody. And next up, let's see, I mentioned Aliens earlier, but I had picked a piece that was kind of my segue for it. So this is Aliens Earth War from 1990. This is in James Calf Gallery. The thing is, I like this one I love the lighting on the piece. I mean, did he include it? Yeah, he did include a color one. I don't even look at it because I like the way the lighting, the way I think about the lighting when I view this particular piece. And I love the 2 panels at the bottom being framed like that. I'm not sure what what the reasoning was behind it, but it does a great job to kind of carry the top image, in the illustration. So I just thought that, and again, it's such a heavy line. Just something about it. It was so different as far as a structural element with the frames there that I just wanted to feature this piece too.
Yeah, it rebalances the like if you look at the page as a whole, those 2 bottom panels kind of rebalance the whole image.
True.
It's a choice. It's a different choice, but it's a choice.
Well, I like it, and so I get my movie reference in that way.
The lighting in this is amazing.
Yeah,
and it's very Sam Keith, and not like it's not like Marvel Comics Presents or the Max or like whatever, but this is clearly Sam Keith. Very cool.
The funny thing was when I first saw it, I thought it was Sam Keith. My friend Chris has a Sam Keith MCP cover that it feels so much like this image.
Yeah, the claws on the alien in particular, like just reek of Sam Keith. The tail too, it's a very Sam Keith like graphic treatment.
That's fine. So I'm glad you said that because I wasn't gonna say that, but that's who I thought when I first saw the image. I thought Sam Keith.
Yep.
So, go figure. All right. Well, congrats. Sam Keith is just such a amazing guy. And yeah, I should show you that. Well, no, I won't show it to you. I think Chris turned his calf gallery off a long time ago, so can't show it. But he still owns this piece. That's just gorgeous. So, yep, not enough Sam Keith art on our website. So, let me see. And James he's on a roll. He's been picking up some other good artwork too, like he always is. All right, now I picked this Rob Liefeld. Everybody, I know there's no feed on it. I picked this piece.
Doesn't that go without saying?
I know it goes without saying, but I picked this one because of Norm's inks on this one. Because when I think Norm is a very very distinctive inker. Now you look at this and you get all the Liefeld mashed up stuff going on the face like he always does, but everything else around it, like the hairs on Wolverine's arms, and then like a lot of the rest of the stuff, it's like this is all Norm. I mean, I'm sure that the stuff was there, but Norm makes this piece interesting because Norm.
He gives it kind of a Mike Golden or like almost Art Adams feel. The Ratman stuff does.
Yeah, well, I always like Norm's inks on Ian Churchill, for instance, and I just feel like Norm, he's just got a really nice style on it, and I think he brings enough of himself into this piece to kind of transform the Liefeld into something much better. So, yeah, for me it was that, and yeah, I was drawn in by the hairy arms. I don't know why. I mean, who draws hairy arms? But that's what hit me. And then as soon as I saw that, I thought Norm, and then I realized it was Liefeld because of the face. But yeah, just an interesting piece.
It's distinctively Liefeld, and yeah, Ratman does. That is also like that's clear, right? It's clear that that's who's doing this.
The leg is coming out of the groin, says Rich Davies.
Yeah,
Rich, you're paying attention. We have missing legs. We've got legs coming out of groins tonight. It's it is what it is. You only get this stuff in comics, right?
He's got the floating hand on the left too.
Oh, I didn't even.
But
all
that's
right. All right.
That's not why we love Rob, though.
That's right.
Right? We love him in spite of those things.
Oh man, we should go back and look at the Sam Keith one more time and make us cleanse our palate and go back to there you go. I just wanted to show it off, everybody. So I have.
It's a good piece. It's fun for sure.
It is. So and this is in DT Tube. DT Tube, I actually emailed I actually had to reply to him. He's relatively new. I think who pointed this out to me? I think James pointed me out to, because I'd never seen DT Tube's calf gallery somehow. At least I don't feel I have. And so I asked him if he'd do an interview. He said he would do one after the first of the year. So should be somebody interesting. He's got a cool YouTube channel, way more followers than I could ever hope to have, because he's got I don't even know what it was, like 70,000. It's like, holy smokes. But he covers all kinds of topics. So I thought, wow, he would be a cool guy to have on. He's going to be clearly he's going to be super charismatic, and the fact that he is a fairly young art collector, hobby wise. I mean, he's been on calf since February 2022, but he's got a lot of really nice pieces in his calf. So
get some crossover there.
There you go.
Although if 70,000 people start watching this channel, Bill, I'm gone. I am out.
I'll tell you, whenever I was so nervous when we did the Albert and Mike show, and we had like 400 people, 450 people watching at one moment, I was scared to death the whole time.
Hard to wrap your head around.
It is. It's, you're thinking about that, and it's like, that's a big panel. There's a lot going on with that. So, yeah. What are you going to do? So over here, Tom Greinberg. This is this is in Benno's calf gallery. I mean, Greinberg's somebody who I've always appreciated his work a lot, but there was just so much interesting stuff going on in this piece, and it looks like it's on toned paper, so that just added a little bit to it. But I mean, there's nice shading, lots of different stuff going on in this piece.
Yeah, I see like Jack Davis. I see Marshall Rogers. I see. Yeah, this is cool.
It is a very, very cool piece. But yeah, Greinberg, he's somebody whose work I've always admired. He's kind of like to me, he's like even Bill Reinhold. There's these artists who I just feel like are lumped in this weird, I don't know what you call it, where they're so talented, and yet again never on something like super. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why, because their work is so solid. And,
I think in the case of Ryan, and maybe Greinberg as well, but with Reinhold, I always thought that like it was kind of a weird time where we had like Perez and Byrne and Zach and Simonson, and like he was more of an inker then, like, and I just felt like it was kind of like, again, it was weird timing, but like you can't take away anything from Bill Reinhold. I mean, he's amazing.
Right. Exactly. So no, I know and you're probably right. It's back then everybody wanted more Byrne and Perez, right? So guys like Greinberg just kind of got overlooked. But
this is amazing though. Beautiful.
I agree. Congrats, Benno. Benno's calf gallery and collection continue to shine. And yeah, I mean, just the shadows on here, that big giant cat shadow in the back. I mean, there's fun stuff here. And look,
awesome textures. I mean, there's texture just everywhere you look. Like the bricks that are poking out from behind the wallpaper or the plaster or whatever in the background there over Catwoman's shoulder. Catwoman's costume has a load of texture. There's fur, there's cape, there's leather, there's brick, there's paper, there's wood. I mean, this is a masterclass in textures.
I agree. All right. Now this was just, I kind of had to pick it. I love Wrightson, and I thought this one was very fun. I mean, it's from Swamp Thing, but so no Swamp Thing in it. I love the first panel. I love the fact that there's Zipatone on it as well. I mean, it's not something I think that we see too often with Wrightson.
No, normally it would be like ink wash, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I just thought it was unique from that perspective too. So it's not like you're getting a lot of horror here. You're getting just some fun storytelling, and I really enjoyed it. I love the canted first panel, with the perspective, and then just kind of the I feel like he's learning things here, right? I mean, he's teaching stories, like he listened to Howard Chaykin one day, go over how to do things, and then this over the shoulder view of the top of the desk. I mean, it's fun. And is anybody smoking in it? No. All right. We still don't have that crossover yet. Hey, it could happen. It could happen. But
that bottom panel almost has like a Neil Adams. The figure is almost Neil Adams-ish.
Yeah. This is it's really nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as an artifact, it's very interesting.
And I'll tell you, and I'm going to make a reference here, and the thing is, I think, I'm looking at this. To me, this is kind of why I like Bill Willingham. I'm looking at the way the storytelling is done, and and he kind of, and Bill, female figure, just the way the hands. Even if you go back and look at Bill Willingham's hands, he was really good at drawing hands as well. And people always talk about Wrightson clearly, because he just really did a great job. But it's funny. I mean, even the inking that's done on the hand here is very similar to the way that Willingham was, at least during the Elementals, kind of that period. Wow. So no, very, very nicely done. But yeah, I agree with you. The woman, this whole center here reminds me of Bill's stuff too.
Yeah,
But,
we're like Mike Gustovich.
Gustovich, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Another one. Another person who's
Product of the same era system.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, so again, I had to pick this piece, and I didn't even check. Oh, David Kwok. David Kwok was in the chat earlier. There's David. They said
Page looks familiar. Okay, yeah. David.
All right. Well, David, I'm very impressed, my friend. This is a absolutely stunning page, and I love everything about it. It doesn't need to have Swamp Thing in it to be a fantastic Wrightson page. So yeah, congrats on this pickup. Love seeing it on CAF. All right, so this was in Doug Ellis's CAF gallery. Every once in a while, I pick something out of Doug's CAF gallery. This is by Lawrence Stern Stevens, and just a gorgeous illustration. I mean, if you look at, there's actually several people. Well, not so. There's probably like 30 pieces by Lawrence Stevens on CAF. We can look at them in a bit, but look, he's kind of, as you're looking at it, you think it's this weird forest scene, and then you see another like a female figure here, and there's another figure behind the guy. Just but you kind of go in and look at the details on it. It's like, holy moly, you know, there's so many inking techniques going on in this piece. Gosh, I mean, look at the grass in the back. I mean, this is, this is so amazing. So
oh yeah, Rich Danny's Virgil Finley for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, without question.
Wow.
Look at that. I mean, I'm just, when because I wasn't really familiar with the artist at all, but I went and looked at.
Sorry, yeah, what's the name?
Lawrence Stevens, and I'll click the link so you can kind of see there are some other really great pieces on CAF by this artist. But yeah, I mean,
I'm so impressed by the directional layering that he has going on here.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, yeah. I'd love to see this piece in person. I mean, it's gorgeous, and then just a little bit of the white paint here to kind of. It just, I bet this looked really interesting when it was printed, and I'm sure Doug wouldn't have included anything like that now. But yeah, let me click on Lawrence Stevens as a search, and I mean, we're not going to go look at all the pieces, but yeah, I mean, really, I mean, they all look incredibly detailed. I think I looked at this one, and there was the color piece I checked out, and I think this one too. But this is, again, this is look at it. I mean, it's using pencil and ink. Look how amazing that is.
Wow, and it's sci-fi deco.
I mean, I'd love to own this page. I mean, look at that. Such a great illustration.
That's beast. I love it.
Yeah. So Lawrence Stevens, everybody. That is a name that I was not familiar with until I saw that. So thank you, Doug, for posting.
Boy, that's almost like an optical illusion. If you look at those walls for too long, you get a headache.
Yeah, you kind of do. Wow. It is. That's cool. So yeah, I'm very curious about learning more, at least a little bit more about that artist. And then, okay, I actually picked a Jordy piece, Torpedo. I wish I could kind of zoom in on this one, but this is as big as we get. Whose CAF gallery was this? Somebody I probably wasn't familiar with. Alexander Dordevsky.
And it's a photo, Bill. You really must have liked this.
I did. I just loved this, this
middle
image right here. You're underneath a train rail or something. You've got the city in the background. I mean, he's smoking. He's win.
We get it.
One. All right.
Synchronicity is achieved.
There you go. Now, right. And I thought the same thing. It's dark. It's too small. Why am I going to pick this one? But I kept thinking, well, I haven't done a lot of pieces by Bernet before. But so again, everything about it's just lovely. The first panel, the middle panel, the fourth panel at the bottom. I mean, with the storefront, just gorgeous stuff. And Bernet he's just incredible. His figures are so stylized, but in such a subtle way. I just have always admired his work. And,
so for me, right, wrong, or indifferent, I came to Bernet late, and I actually found out about him through Jonah Hex.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a big Jonah Hex fan. And so I wasn't aware of him until he started doing Jonah Hex with Palmiotti and Gray way back when. And so I backed into Torpedo and Clara and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm a huge fan, and especially of Torpedo. Like that whole guys with guns thing is so appealing to me. And this is a great page.
Yes, it is. And they're smoking. Now I'm complete. And so my last pick, this is in Paul P's collection. I don't think I pick Larson too often, if ever. I've always kind of, I don't know, his style for me has always been like hit or miss. I don't know why.
I'm with you there. Yeah, he's kind of he's like my Rob Liefeld in some ways.
Yeah, and so he's always kind of been that way for me too. But I really like this piece a lot. I love the dynamic, in your face action and the storytelling here. I don't know and I don't know anything about this particular Defender's story, but I just thought it was funny. You got these presumably villains coming in this direction, and then they're like a little shocked, and then you get this, you get this amazing 3/4 money shot.
Yeah.
So
of everybody and then some.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I just loved it. I mean, and I don't love it necessarily for the art as much as I love it for the storytelling. I think that it's I love the perspective on the Hulk. I mean, if Kirby was drawing it, he probably would have had the same kind of foreshortening and that Larson's done here. And so I liked it a lot for that. I mean, because I'm still looking at it, it's like, I'm just not a huge fan of Larson.
I mean, I want to like it so bad, and I really did, like, because it's got some Simonson, it's got some Kirby, it's got some, but it's Larson's doing his own thing, and so I'm right there with you.
But this page is great. I mean, it really is wonderful. And so I had to pick it because I'm like, there aren't many Larson examples that I picked. I think this
is a great one.
Really, really great example of his work. And it was it Al Gordon inking? I forget now. Let me see.
Probably, yeah.
Al Gordon inks.
Yeah.
So
which helps.
Yes, definitely. So congrats to Paul P on that one. It is a beauty. It really is. I mean, so go back. I can go back and look at that and just that's a nice piece. So
that could be a cover. The bottom part of that.
It could. I mean,
easily be a cover.
I'm just really, I'm happy to see this because it's like, it's a great piece of art. I love it. All right. Well, congrats to Paul on another wonderful piece added to his calf. So we've made it through another.
We're done so early.
We are. After the way the thing started, I thought I was going to be here till 12:30. So, but no, this worked out really well, and we've learned a lot. We found some new artists. We at least both of us picked people smoking, which was
we have to tell people that don't smoke.
Yes, smoking is bad for you, everybody. It really is. I am more than. When did I stop? I mean, shoot, it's been almost 30 years. So it was a bad college habit. I picked up, beatnik art student, and I picked it up there, and but it was like the moment I met Maureen, I was like, oh my God, I want to live forever. So it's true.
Maureen, you better still be in the audience for that one.
she's probably not. But that's how it was. Alcohol next week, yes, James. You never know, James. It could be. We laughed, we loved, says Marcus. Thank you, Marcus. Joe Camel would approve, says Michael McIsaac of our picks. Oh man, we might find some Joe Camel advertising art on calf next week.
It wasn't on purpose, I swear to God.
I know, that is so funny. That really was surprising. So anyway, man, lots of fun. Now, here's the thing. Next week is Thanksgiving on Thursday. And I thought, well, I could do a Friday show, but at the moment I'm kind of debating. I really feel like I'm a little burned out. I'm feeling like I might want to skip the calf update next week.
Sure.
But give me until like Sunday. I'll let you know.
Just let me know.
Yeah. Cause if I have to do a Saturday show with Cowan and Sienkiewicz after Thanksgiving. So I'm kind of thinking, we're not going to do one on Thursday. I'm just going to skip Friday. So I'm fully,
you've earned time off, Bill.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, there you go. James says, take the time off. He was yelling at me the other day too.
Rip your arm off.
Yeah. So all right. I think we can. Why don't we call it now? There will be no calf update next week, but I can promise you, Chris and I will be looking at the artwork going up there, and maybe we'll just span a 2-week period when we come back the Thursday.
Yeah. If anything, I'll make my picks and log them.
Yeah, we could do that. We could still make a post about it. I mean, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. All right, well, why don't we do that? Okay, Peter says, Bill, it's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
All right, you got it. And I will let
Thanksgiving
everybody...
in Florida.
That is true.
Do you eat a flamingo?
I don't know. That's yeah, or it might be roadkill or something. Man, I'm learning a lot while I'm down here. I'll tell you, I've got a funny thing. I was down where I'm at. It is so rural. We don't have mailboxes. Okay, there is, but we happen to be at an intersection where it's like this. It's a set of mailboxes,
like a drop off.
Kind of. There's a slot to put your letters in, but then everybody has their own like small, like, I don't know, it's like a foot wide by 4 inches tall, maybe 18 inches deep. So that's my mailbox. But there's like 20 of them on it. So I was out there getting mail, and a car pulls up, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to meet another neighbor. And so this woman gets out in hospital garb, and says, hi, I'm Cindy. I'm like, hey, it's Bill. I just moved in. She's like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. And I said, she's like, oh yeah, my husband's from Ohio. And I'm like, oh yeah, did you know that we're from Ohio? I'm thinking maybe Maureen might have met her or something like that. She's like, oh really? She goes, oh, my husband's from Chardon. And I'm like,
what?
Are you serious? Because that's where we just moved from Chardon. She's like, oh, well, I'll talk to my husband and send him over so we can say hi to you guys. I'm like, that's it. She's like, yeah, he still has family back in Chardon. You probably know him. I'm like, maybe. It was a very small town. So how in the heck does that even happen? It's like he moved down here like 20 years ago or 25 years ago, she said. Small world. It's like I go I'm in the middle of nowhere. And there was no, she didn't know anything about Ohio. She didn't know where I was from. And then she literally her husband's from the same city I just moved out of. He loves mini golf, says Rich. I can't escape Chip's Clubhouse, everybody. Yeah, what are you going to do? But that was weird. That
sounds like the start of a horror movie to me.
I know. I was like looking at her like, I just moved from there. So yeah, it's something
Chardon,
really weird.
2 of all places. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, very weird. Yeah, everybody's giving the Chips Clubhouse jokes. Thank you, everybody.
Chips will live on forever.
Yeah, it will. But yeah, no, we're gonna go to Maureen's parents for Thanksgiving, I believe. So we'll see. I can't imagine what else we'd be doing. But all right, well, listen, always fun, Chris. And so we'll miss next week, but we'll be on together the week after Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a cigar.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll do that.
Thanks, man. Bye. Peter Rose says they want your art. Are they smokers? Who the heck knows? But it was a weird moment. And yeah, I walked back to the house and I'm like, Maureen wasn't there. So I had to relay the stories to the girls and they're like, that's weird, Dad. I'm like, yeah, that was a weird exchange for me as well. But yeah, it's like I had one of the neighbors like did this burnout spin in the main road in front of us and like turfed the yard. Not that there's like a lot of yard there, but they turfed my yard and then they turfed the yard on the other side and just and they're the people who with the loud vehicles that other night. So yeah, I'm next to a loud family. So very, very weird. They didn't go back and fix where they turfed it. Not that it's a long road front there, but yeah, they didn't even go back and fix their divot. So yes, can't escape the Chardonnay, says Scott. Anyway, I am going to call it a night. I do appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It's been a lot of fun, but I'm going to take the next several days off. No show on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I didn't even show you the schedule. I guess just real quick, why don't I show that slide? Because I did make one. I combined everything up here. I don't have a show until next Tuesday. That will be the Heritage Recap. I haven't invited Dino yet, but I hope he'll do it. Nick said he would do it. Hopefully, maybe we can get Albert and Mike to do it as well. As usual, we'll see. Mike hasn't replied, but I can't see why he wouldn't do it. Then Dueling Dealers on Wednesday, Cow and Sienkiewicz on Saturday. I've got Alex Johnson on the 29th, that Tuesday. That'll be fun. I've got a Comic Connect preview the following Tuesday after that. Then I've got, Howard Chaykin on the 10th. And I put question marks on Dueling Dealers for the 7th only because Mike Berkey is actually going to be in Florida with his family. So I don't think Mike is going to be available on that Wednesday. And Anthony is either going to do, I'll do something with Anthony that night. I can't promise it'll be against, another dealer or a pro-am show, or even if we'll consider it a true dueling dealers match to increment our numbers since we're getting really close to 100. So probably not, since Mike's not going to be a part of it. But we'll see. And then I've got Shannon Weathers penciled in on the 20th. And then, so who knows? Either the Dueling Dealers 100th episode will be on the 21st, or it will be on the 28th. So it's hard to tell, but we're hitting that milestone, and that'll be fun no matter what. And then, as I just mentioned, Bart Sears is going to be doing regular shows with me starting in the 2023 calendar. And I think January will be the first one of those. So lots of fun stuff coming up for me. But I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will see you again on Tuesday, hopefully with a full team of Heritage recappers along with myself. And I hope everybody enjoys the weekend. Check out the Heritage auctions tomorrow, and I think Sunday is the other big art day. So there's definitely some cool stuff in there, at least to watch. Note the prices on the stuff that you like as well. And, enjoy your weekend. I will see you on Tuesday. Take care of yourselves.